How are you guys doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Please let me know in the comments. Roll call. Please let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Even what device you're watching on. That's a fun one to do. Are you watching on your toaster? Are you watching on your phone, on your television? One of you sent me a picture once of like a private, like a home theater, and this person was watching the show on this giant screen, like in a cinema, basically. I mean, that was honestly impressive. Anyway, let me know where you're watching from, so I can shout your cities out. We've got Chicago, we've got Virginia, California, New York City on a phone, Ecuador on a laptop, Siberia on an iPhone. See, it's good. It makes it colorful. We got New York, Quebec, Germany, Tehran. We've got Joseph says hi from the Epstein's Island. Jesus. We got San Francisco, New Orleans, Iran, Nigeria, Langley. We've got hold on, I'm scrolling up because I missed a couple of these. We've got more Chicago. We've got Portugal, France, Florida, Toronto. Monique is watching on well, it says in her name that she's in London, but she's watching on a laptop that is overheating. Well, wait till you see what we're going to talk about. It's going to heat up for sure. Upstate New York, Wisconsin, Huawei Mate phone. I mean, we've spoken about Huawei before, about how they're basically trying to crush it because it's not American. Like with TikTok, and which is owned by ByteDance, which is Chinese, or Huawei. There's nothing wrong with these phones. They make this excuse up that, oh, well, it's full of Chinese spyware. Hello, did you just forget like what happened with the NSA? It's been 10 years, but I mean, it's still relevant, that the NSA work with every single American tech company, from Google to Microsoft to Yahoo, AOL, Skype. I mean, Skype is owned by Microsoft, but Facebook, Apple, you name it, AT&T, and the NSA works with them. So, for them to come and say, well, look, our spyware is fine, but Chinese spyware, we're not going to tolerate. Get out of here, man. Come on. Seriously, this is ridiculous. They just don't like that they're selling, that China has surpassed the United States and Silicon Valley in many ways. And that's, fair is fair. I thought capitalism is about competition. No? Right? Competition sparks innovation. In any case, I'm done with my intro rant, and we shall now proceed to the subject at hand. Yes. Okay, so let us begin. We're going to talk about Niger. We're going to talk about Niger in a second. I love that topic so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. But before we do that, we're going to talk about something else that you guys have not heard of. And I really mean this. There is hold on, I'm trying to close this out. Okay. So we need to talk about Syria, because there is a huge story happening in Syria that involves the United States and Turkey that you are not hearing about in the media, because they want to keep it under wraps. Okay. And this is the biggest, amount of fighting that we've seen in Syria in many, many years, since 2019, right? It's really gotten out of hand, because since 2019, the lines have stayed relatively stable, right? Everyone has stayed in their corner, so to speak. The Turks have Idlib, they've carved out a section of Idlib. The United States is stealing oil with the help of the Kurdish-led SDF over in Dore and Hasakeh, which are in the northeast and east of Syria. And then Israel is occupying the Golan Heights since '67. And ISIS is hiding in the desert near Palmyra and so on. Now this is at risk. Everything the Americans have built, right, is at risk of falling apart. So let me explain this, okay? Just look at the map. This is what I was describing here. You see the stuff in yellow? Okay, now this map is from Al Jazeera from 2020, but it's relatively the same. You know, the lines haven't changed substantially. Okay, you see everything in yellow. This is SDF. So SDF stands for Syrian Democratic Forces. You know, another CIA acronym. It's basically an umbrella organization of all these militias that are mostly, you know, Kurdish, and then also you have allies that work with them. That are Arab tribes, okay? And the United States is the main backer of the SDF. They're not just backing them, they're literally on the ground with them stealing oil. So now, what happened is that the SDF, okay, the Kurdish faction, they screwed up. They screwed up. What they did is they summoned the head of the military council, okay, of the Arab tribes. So his name is Ahmad Abu Khawla, and they arrested him. It was a trap. They arrested him, and then people just lost it. You know, all the Arab tribes that have been so, you know, up until this point, tolerating being ruled by the SDF and the Americans, they just had enough. This is really the straw that broke the camel's back. You see what I did there with the camel and the tribes? There you go. So they are now fighting against the SDF. There's been a split. And you need to understand that this is very bad for the United States. The United States is not doing anything. Because if they lean, you know, if they put their thumb too much on the scale, you know, for one side, for the Kurds, they're going to make the Arab tribes even more angry. And if they, you know, put their thumb on the scale in favor of the Arab tribes, they will make the Kurds angry. So now the United States have basically smuggled, you know, some spooks from the State Department who illegally entered Syria to talk with both sides to try and calm things. Now, again, I want to show you this from the AP. Look at this. This is from the Associated Press, okay? Actually, no, even better. We'll get to the AP. This is from the United States Embassy in Syria, which is a non-existent entity. There is no U.S. Embassy in Syria. I mean, there used to be one, but it's it's currently unoccupied. So apparently this embassy exists only on Twitter, which I find fascinating, you know? And they were admitting on Twitter to having entered Syria illegally. Okay. So give me a second. Let me show you this tweet. I have all these things lined up here. The US Embassy in Syria, the only virtual embassy I've ever heard of. Anyway, so here we go. This is the account, and they are proudly saying that Deputy Assistant Secretary Goldrich, Jesus with these goddamn acronyms, you know, basically he's the head of Near East Affairs. You know, the United States, because they're running an empire, they assign, you know, random people to who are responsible for areas of the world that are not part of the United States, you know, like typical colonial stuff. So Mr. Goldrich, right, and Commander Major General Vowell met in northeast Syria with the SDF, the SDC, and tribal leaders from Dore. Now, hold on a second. When you say met in northeast Syria, how the hell did they get into northeast Syria? They entered illegally, which is against the law, right? I mean, just think of how arrogant these people are. They not only commit the crime, they go and post about it on Twitter. The United States, you know, it does not have the right to just walk into any country that it feels like violating. You know, just imagine if a Syrian, any Syrian, entered the United States illegally. Any person, really. It's not necessarily Syrian, but just imagine, like, if this was, you know, the other way around. That a Syrian official, a Syrian government official, and a Syrian general, you know, they enter through Mexico into the United States illegally to meet with some, you know, some people that they're giving weapons to fight the government of Washington. I mean, they would hit the roof. You know, if you enter the United States illegally, you would be put in a cage and deported. You would be treated like, you know, the lowest scum on earth, because you're violating the United States laws and you know, its borders, which are sacrosanct. What about Syria's borders? Who gives these people the right, what gives these people the right to just walk in to meet with whoever the hell? I mean, this is ridiculous. It's like John McCain. You remember John McCain? He just walked into Syria illegally, of course, through Turkey to meet with a bunch of, terrorists who are Al-Qaeda. And he posts a picture, it's like, it's shameless, absolutely shameless. So in any case, the United States, they're really, really trying to, fix the situation. And I need you to understand, since 2014, 2015, the United States have been trying to set up a tribal force, as I call it. Basically, they wanted to get all the Arab tribes in Dore together and make out of them one force that they can control, okay? Because the United States need to control the Arab tribes and the Kurds so they can control the region, all right? Now, the Kurds cooperate because they want their own country, right? So, I feel bad for them, honestly, because they always get stabbed in the back by the Americans. You remember 2019 with Trump, he just like pulled out and left them, to Turkey to butcher. They always get stabbed in the back by the Americans, and then they still go back and work with the Americans every single time. It's unbelievable, right? So what they've been trying to do since then is manage this entire region. Look, again, in yellow, okay? It's that whole thing. So, like I said, the Kurds cooperate because, there's something in it for them. The United States favor the Kurds, okay? The thing is, though, that this is not Kurdish. I know Vice News and all these, and Vox and all these media outlets want you to think that Kurdistan is a real country. It's not. It's not a country. Syria is not yours to just chop up and divide the way you feel like doing. We've already been through this. Syria has already been chopped up quite a few times. Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, this was all Syria, right? So it's not enough that they carved it up, Sykes and Picot, these British and French, I'm trying not to swear, diplomats. No, now they want to take another chunk. I want you to understand something. Christians, for example, now we're talking about a religious group, not an ethnic group, but nevertheless, it's just an analogy. Christians are also a minority in Syria. Yes? About 10% of the population Christian, like myself. Okay, so my father's side British, mother's side Syrian Christian. Why don't I also just go and demand a country? I'm going to go and carve out a piece of Syria to my liking and then treat everybody who's Kurdish like crap. What do you think? How do you think they would like that? That would be wrong. That would be immoral. That would be gross and disgusting. So how come Deir ez-Zor is majority Arab? 90% of the people there are Arab, and yet you have the Kurdish component backed by the Americans ruling over these Arab tribes and treating them like crap. This has been simmering and boiling for years now. This is not just because they arrested one man. It's not just because they arrested Abu Khawla, the head of the military council. This is a real concern. Okay, this is a real issue. So the Arab tribes are being treated unequally. As a matter of fact, this whole area is not even really Arab necessarily. It's more like Assyrian and Armenian. But that's what makes up Syria. You have all these religious and ethnic groups. Bedouin, Palestinian, Armenian. You name it, it's there. Remember that we're talking about the cradle of civilization. Literally, the cradle of civilization. Okay, all the major. The three major religions, so Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they all have roots in Syria. Farming itself, writing, in Ugarit, you go to Ugarit, you've got, and I've been there, I've been fortunate to see it, you've got all the tablets there, the first musical notes in the world, the first alphabet in the world. Of course you're going to have all these groups there. They live in harmony, there's no problem. So when the Americans start carving out a chunk, this is 1/3 of Syria. This is not small fries. Look, it's 1/3 of the country. And by the way, all the oil is there. What a coincidence. Yes, boy. It just happened to. I just happened to fancy it, and I hadn't the foggiest about any sort of oil or black gold or whatever you want to call it. The oil is there. The wheat is there, right? This is the breadbasket region. So all the farming, the cotton, the wheat, the oil, all of this stuff is there. And the Americans are occupying it. They're plundering the oil, and they give the Kurdish minority power over the rest of the, the rest of the inhabitants who are majority Arab. Now, the thing is, the United States, as I said, they're playing a balancing game. They want to please both sides, sort of, so they can get them working together. And they lie. They say that we're here to fight ISIS. Yeah, but no one asked you to come here to fight ISIS. The Syrian government brought Hezbollah and Iran and Russia to fight Daesh, and they took care of it. Right? Remember, Daesh, ISIS wouldn't even exist if we hadn't invaded Iraq with the Americans and created this power vacuum, and then tried to topple Assad. It wouldn't exist. The power vacuum created by the West allowed groups like Daesh to emerge and to thrive. This is a direct consequence. So now to come there and say, oh yeah, I'm here to clean this mess up that I made, but I'm actually not going to admit that I did it. This is ridiculous. This is an excuse. What you need to understand why the United States is here. Again, look at the map. This is the most valuable part of Syria, so to speak, although again, I'm talking strictly in terms of natural resources, right? I'm not talking about historical value, because all of Syria has many precious sites. Just understand what's going on here. Do you see how the Americans occupy the yellow zone? What the Americans want to do is connect everything that they occupy. So this whole yellow zone, they want to bring that all the way down here. You see where my cursor is? To the El Tanf border crossing. Okay? El Tanf, the Americans have an air base there. They have an illegal air base in El Tanf. So they want to join the bases that they have in Deir ez-Zor and Hasakeh with El Tanf. Now why? Why specifically El Tanf? Because the border with Iraq terminates at El Tanf. After El Tanf, you have Jordan. Now, Jordan is, King Abdullah was in our army. He's if I'm not mistaken, a British colonel. I don't remember his rank, but he was in the British Armed Forces. And Jordan has ties with Israel. Jordan is not an issue, for Washington or for Whitehall. They're not worried that, Jordan is going to allow Syria to have a loophole or something. No. So the Americans want to isolate Syria from Iraq. Why? Because Iraq is in the path from Iran going all the way to Palestine. Okay, so again, let me pull up the map. There's a whole axe. There's an entire axe on the map that the Americans want to chop up, divide and conquer, divide and rule. Look at what I'm talking about. You see here? So Afghanistan is not, we don't consider Afghanistan part of the so-called resistance axis, but nevertheless, the Americans were in Afghanistan, and there are problems because and Pakistan, they destroyed it too, and that was a menace to China and Iran and so on. But focus on the resistance axis. So there's an axe here going all the way from Iran to Iraq, to Syria, to Lebanon, to Palestine. Okay? The Americans want to isolate these countries. Why? Because if you do that, if you isolate Syria from Iraq, no more weapons for the resistance are going to come from Iran into Iraq, into Syria, to Hezbollah in Lebanon, and to Hamas and the rest of the Palestinian resistance, that is fighting in Gaza and Jerusalem. Do you understand why Syria? Why do you think they've demonized Syria? Why is Syria, in such peril? Syria, they wanted to attack it for a long time because Syria has always said, no, we will not recognize Israel. We do not give a crap what you say. We're not going to recognize Israel. We will fight for the Palestinians, as if we're fighting for ourselves because we are one. And we are not going to allow Western banks, Western corporations to flood our country and take over our resources. No, thank you. That is why they attack Syria, because Syria says no to the Western banks and corporations, and Syria supports the resistance. The headquarters of Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, is in Damascus, is in the capital of Syria. So whether we're talking about, PIJ or Hezbollah, doesn't matter. Syria has always supported the resistance axis, resistance to Zionism, to Israeli, colonialism and American colonialism. That's why they attack Syria. So they want to make sure Iran cannot supply Hezbollah, Iran cannot support Palestine, Iran cannot support Lebanon, cannot support Syria, and vice versa, right? And vice versa. So, right now, the other concern also is that Iran just joined BRICS, right? Iran joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So again, BRICS are the largest emerging economies in the world. Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and Iran joined the Belt and Road Initiative and signed a 25-year partnership with China. All these three things happened in the last 2 years, in the last 24 months. Iran is becoming a huge player. Iran is a big player already on the world scene, okay, on the world stage. So, and just 3 days ago, Iran signed a railway deal with Iraq. So you're going to have a railway now that connects the two. By doing this, by connecting Al Tanaf with Deir ez-Zor, the Americans will make sure that the resistance axis is cut in half, and that Iran has no pathway to the Mediterranean Sea for its economy, and China as well has no path to the Mediterranean Sea through Iran and through Asia, like the old traditional Silk Road, right? You guys remember the Silk Road? This is the most infamous. It is the trade route of human civilization, right? I mean, look at that. And China is trying to revive that by creating the new Silk Road. You see how Damascus is right there as one of the major ports, rather major points in the Silk Road. And of course you have Aleppo and Palmyra that are also major trading points. So, it's not just China, like it's not China that's going to run this. All these countries benefit. That's the whole point, right? All these countries benefit from this trade. And by doing this, you make sure China, the Belt and Road Initiative cannot work because there's no land bridge. The railway between Iran and Iraq also won't be able to go any further. Iran won't have any access to the Mediterranean Sea for economic purposes. And like I said, the resistance axis, when it comes to Syria, Hezbollah, Palestine, all cut off. So do you understand why this is so important right now? That the Americans, in their mind, it's so important for them right now to calm the situation between the Arab tribes and the Kurds, because they need them to play ball in order for them to chop up the resistance axis, in order for them to connect Al Tanaf with Deir ez-Zor. Okay, again, look at the map. When you come here, you see where my mouse is? When you go all the way down here to Al Tanaf, you cut Syria off from Iraq, completely isolated, no way through. I mean, what I find so funny is that, you read the Associated Press, look what they say. I mean, this is, dude, look at this. They say, crucial for Tehran, Iran has had a land corridor of allies linking it to the Mediterranean Sea ever since Syrian forces and Iranian-backed militias captured areas along the border with Iraq from ISIS in 2017. Last week's clashes came after Lebanese and Arab media outlets reflecting Iran's point of view claimed that Americans intended to sever that link by capturing the strategic border town of Abu Kamal. Look, there's so much wrong with this sentence. Like I highlighted 3 parts. Look at this. Look, first of all, what does that mean, Lebanese and Arab? What, like as if they're 2 different groups, Lebanese and Arab. What? Yeah, Lebanese are Arab. It's just stupid, right? I don't know how they make this mistake. And then right after this, they say that they're reflecting Iran's point of view. Iran's point of view? What do you mean Iran's point of view? Are you guys colorblind? Are you colorblind? What is... Look at the goddamn map. Look at the map. If you come down and take Al Tanaf, you block Iran from Syria. You block Iran, you separate Iran from Lebanon, from Palestine. What's so difficult about this? You just need to look at the bloody map. It's a simple map. It's not Iran's point of view. Look at the bloody map. They even say, they say themselves in the previous sentence that Iran has a land corridor of allies linking it to the Mediterranean Sea. So, okay, so you understand the concept. Yeah, I can't stand this. It's so depressing reading anything from mainstream media, you know? It's like anything that is logical, that is demonstrably true, you know, that you can see with your eyes, just by looking at the map. No, this is Iran's point of view. What? Who the hell? Who asked Iran, man? Just look at the map. I can't stress this enough. I mean, again, even they themselves admit that this is, you know, an axe of resistance. Maybe I just coined a new term. Instead of an axis, it's an axe of resistance, right? All the way along through Iran, Hashd al-Sha'bi, PMU in Iraq, Syria, Hezbollah, and Palestine, you know, with Hamas and PIJ and so on. An axe of resistance. Yeah, the Americans want to carve it up. And so, you know, right now they're sending these so-called diplomats. Look at this guy. This is the guy that they sent, Mr. Goldrich, right? So, of course, you know, he's been in Bahrain and Abu Dhabi and the UAE, and chargé d'affaires, I think, in Belarus as well. You know, basically trying to screw around with the countries. You know, yeah, I'm sure he'll do a good job. By doing this, what the Americans are doing is beneficial not only to the United States, but to Israel. Israel would love nothing more than to see the Palestinian resistance completely isolated from Syria and from Iran. And also to see Syria isolated from Iran, okay? I mean, just to be clear, by the way, just so you understand, it's not like Iran is, you know, they want you to think like Iran is controlling these countries. No. You know, Iran is just giving them the support that they need. Every single day, the mainstream media bombard you with, oh, we have to support Ukraine. You have to put the Ukrainian flags everywhere. Your tax dollars should pay for weapons for Ukraine. You know, and by the way, you know, a few of those weapons, it's just a few, will end up in the hands of Nazis. You're supposed to accept that. 50 countries that are supporting Ukraine. What? Okay, so why can't Iran support the Palestinians? Fair is fair. And the Palestinian cause, mind you, is a million gazillion, you know, times, is infinitely more valid and legitimate than whatever the hell they're doing in Ukraine, which is basically a proxy war against Russia. Okay? The Palestinian cause is a righteous cause, is a noble cause, is a true cause, is a genuine, legitimate cause, is a cause of resistance. As is the Syrian cause. Right? The Arab cause. Get rid of European colonialism. These are true, legitimate causes. Why shouldn't Iran support them? Why shouldn't Iran support them? Iran should be applauded for what it does, even while it is under sanctions. Look, who could do such a thing? Even Venezuela. Iran is sending fuel to Venezuela. What are you going to say now? Venezuela's an anti-Semitic, Shia, you know, puppet controlled by Iran. Get the hell out of here, man. Cut this nonsense, seriously. And you know, they tell you every day, oh, Ukraine's territorial integrity. Really? What about Syria's territorial integrity? Who the hell is this monster, this idiot, you know, walking into Syria? You don't have a visa. You don't have a permit. You don't have permission. You don't need, you know, they could, if they really wanted to, they could just, you know, show the Syrian government their diplomatic cards and just go in officially. But they don't even bother because they're so ill-mannered and they have no respect whatsoever. They're, you know, no different than these viceroys and you know, colonial guys with their hats walking around 100 years ago. No different. It's just they changed outfits, right? That's it. They just changed outfits, but it's the same behavior. It's the same behavior. They walk around like they own the place. Just try going to the United States without a visa and entering illegally to give support and weapons to a group. See if they don't, nail you to a cross for that. You will be treated like villainous scum and, just basically maligned and treated like you're the devil. But it's okay for, random American diplomats to do it. Come on, man. Have some respect. Have some respect. So, this is a very, very serious issue, what's happening right now. And I think the Americans are worried. I think they're worried. Because if they lose control, if this slips out of hand, if it gets out of hand, it's going to be bad. And another person benefiting from this is why Syria is difficult to understand. I mean, the conflict is difficult to understand because you have so many people with their goddamn hands in the pie in the cookie jar. So many people who shouldn't be there, who are violating Syria's territorial integrity and its borders and its sovereignty, right? But dare you do that to Ukraine? Turkey, for example, let's talk about Turkey. Turkey is benefiting, or rather sees an avenue, an advantageous avenue in what is happening right now. Turkey considers the PKK, which is the Kurdish Workers' Party, to be a terrorist organization. The YPG in Syria, which is, basically an affiliate, right? A Kurdish affiliate of the PKK, Turkey considers them to be a terrorist group as well. So in Turkey's eyes, again, Turkey's a NATO country. Remember that. Israel, the United States gives Israel more military aid than anyone else, is occupying Syria. The United States itself and Turkey also occupying Syria, two NATO countries. Turkey right now is looking at this situation saying, oh, wow. Oh, so you guys are fighting, huh? Might be a good time to send some troops your way. Not Turkish troops exactly, but, Turkish-backed troops. And so let me explain something. There is a group in Syria that is called the Syrian National Army. It is not the official army of Syria. It sounds like it is, right? The Syrian National Army. It's not the Syrian National Army. The real name of the Syrian army is the Syrian Arab Army, okay? The SAA. But Turkey created this group, this proxy group called the SNA, the Syrian National Army, which they fund, which they arm, which they train. And of course, it lives right alongside Al-Qaeda in Idlib, right? And so right now, Turkey sees an in and is exploiting the situation and sending its proxy forces, the SNA, eastward to fight not only the Syrian army, but also the Kurds, right? So, because they think that if the alliance is falling apart, it's basically, politics, right? They see an in, they think that the Kurds might be weak right now, and they try to go after them. And, it's disgusting, honestly, because they are Turkey's funding what is basically a terrorist group, letting them run wild inside Syria, doing whatever they want. Who said they have the right to kill anyone in Syria? Kurdish, Syrian army or otherwise. What business do they have in Syria? They have none. So, the thing is that Turkey thinks that they have the right to go inside Syria and invade it. You remember Erdogan, just not even a year ago, he was saying he wants to extend. He's not happy with one chunk of Syria. He's not happy with Idlib, right? It's not too much to his liking. He wants to extend it by 30 kilometers. Oh, please, sire, my liege. How else can we serve you? Please, off you go. He again, NATO country acts like he owns the place. And so his excuse is, oh, well, the Kurds are terrorists and we want a buffer zone to protect us, protect ourselves from the terrorists. Jesus Christ. You want to protect yourselves from terrorists? Turkey, no one let more terrorists into Syria than Turkey. Truly, all these people who are going off on jihadi tourism from the UK, from I don't know where the hell else, all over the world, they were going through Europe into Turkey and then crossing the border into Syria. And Turkey knows this, and they let this happen. They turn they basically turned a blind eye. They let all these supplies and weapons come in, all these, random tourists come in who are really just extremists who went off to join Al-Qaeda or ISIS or whatever other faction. I mean, I really don't care if they're extremists or not, they're religious extremists or not, because they're extremists in their nature, right? Imagine if someone had done that to Turkey. Again, they'd hit the roof. And then they act like they're victims. Unbelievable. Un-goddamn believable. The nerve, the audacity. The audacity, really. Again, look at here, look at the map. Do you see how I love this legend. It says rebel forces, so in light green, over here in Idlib. By rebel forces, it's actually just Al-Qaeda, right? So Al-Qaeda changed its name multiple times in Syria. It was Al-Qaeda, then Jabhat al-Nusra, so Al-Nusra Front, and then Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or just HTS in English. It's Al-Qaeda, right? Through and through. You can rebrand as many times as you like. It's still Al-Qaeda. And every time the United States, they kill an ISIS leader, he just so happens to be in the Turkish zone. So you see how much of Syria Turkey is occupied, right? Again, this is an old map from 2020, but these lines are relatively still the same. The situation has not changed that much, right? So I'm talking about, especially here in northwestern Syria, all of this giant chunk. And this is on top of what the Europeans, in their infinite wisdom, right, in their infinite grace, decided to chop up from Syria, chop up from Armenia, and give to Turkey, right? I mean, Armenia is like, 3 times smaller now than what it used to be. Yeah, just give it to Turkey, Antakya also from Antioch in Syria, also they gave it to Turkey, and now they're just letting Turkey sit there and occupy it. And I want you to understand that it's this Turkish occupation has become so entrenched, they don't even use Syrian money there anymore. Okay, Syrian tender, it's not used. They use Turkish money in Syria. Okay, here in northwestern Syria. That's how deep and how entrenched this occupation is. And another thing, when you read this Associated Press article, not one goddamn time, not once, do they say the word occupation. If this were an article about Russia and Ukraine, they would say 1 million times, oh, territorial integrity, sovereignty, occupation. How can you talk about the United States? You got a bunch of diplomats illegally entering Syria without a visa, without permission. You have 1/3 of Syria occupied, where all the oil is, by the Americans. They don't say occupation. No. I mean, this is disgusting. And then they repeat this propaganda about, oh, they're there to fight ISIS. No one invited them to fight ISIS. They don't have permission to fight ISIS. I don't care if they're going to save the goddamn planet and create, it doesn't matter how good or noble they pretend their cause is. You don't have the right to just go in another country and steal 1/3 of their territory. It's ridiculous. Especially we're talking about the United States on the other side of the globe. What possible, business could it have there? Oh, that's right, stealing oil. So you see here, you got 2 NATO countries, the United States and Turkey, so deeply involved in Syria's politics. But let's not talk about that. Oh, let's worry about Iran and Russia, right? Because they're the ones that are, that are extending and imposing their agenda on Syrians, and their influence is going to grow. And, this is how they talk about this crisis right now. They make it sound like, Iran and Russia are going to profit. So profit what? What are you talking about? These people shouldn't be there in the first place. The United States is occupying 1/3 of Syria, and you're worried about Iran? What does Iran occupy in Syria? What? Show it to me. Where? What? 1/3 of Syria is controlled by the Americans, and you're telling me, oh, you got to worry about Iran. Get the hell out of here, man. Seriously. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. In any case, I thought I'd bring you up to date on what's happening in Syria. There you go. Thank you very much, Sam K, for the super chat. Sam says, Syria and Russia have been bombing Idlib. How much longer will Russia let Turkey protect HTS? Thank you. This is a point that I wanted to mention, is that right now, in the last days, the Russians, with the Syrian army, have increased their bombing activity, and they're going after not just HTS, which you mentioned, which is Al-Qaeda, but also the Syrian National Army, right? They're really good and creative with these titles, but no, it's not the Syrian army. It's just, like I said, a Turkish-backed proxy. So, you know, I mean, it's just I'm puzzled by this, because remember, Russia and Turkey are on very good terms, right? Russia and Israel are also on very good terms. But guess what? So is Syria with Russia, right? So I think you have to applaud the Russians for how they're able to manage their diplomacy. Like, you know, honestly, you have to understand that in the last couple of months, Iran and Russia have been pressuring Turkey to make peace with Syria, right? That means you withdraw all your troops, you go home, and you stop this crap. And remember, I want to be very clear. Turkey is not only occupying Syria, but it deindustrialized Syria, right? You have so many factories that were completely dismantled, like every nut and bolt, every machine dismantled and taken into Turkey. You can't do this without the government in Turkey knowing about that. You can't just like smuggle fucking factories, you know, in your pocket across the border into Turkey. All right? They let this happen. They allowed this to happen. And yes, on the one hand, you should say that, okay, well, it's nice that Turkey has accommodated, 2 to 3 million Syrian refugees. But those refugees wouldn't exist if Turkey had not played a part in trying to topple the government in Syria. So, you know, I mean, I'm not really in the mood to give thanks now, am I? All right, guys, hold on. Give me a second here. I think we had another super chat from someone, and I'm going to read it to you before we continue. And I'll make sure to give me a second. I'm going to check my email in case any of you have sent a donation on PayPal, so that way I can read out your comment or note or question, and we'll continue with everything in just a moment. So we have a donation here. Give me a second. It's loading. This is from Benoit Lapierre. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. It's very generous of you. And give me a second. We also had another one here on YouTube. This was also from Sam. Sam sent two of them, actually. Said, if I have to hear... So Sam says, if I have to hear that Idlib is rebel-held, I'm going to puke. HTS is the rebranded Al-Qaeda. Yes, exactly. Exactly. But, you know, you're not supposed to say that, because the rebels, they're just freedom fighters, right? Marvin says, how long can Syria sit back and let Israel do airstrikes? Yeah, I'm really angered by that. And it's not just Syria that's sitting back, it's the Russians too. You know, the Russians, like I said, they're trying to, you know, walk on a tightrope here, because on the one hand, they want to help Syria. And just so we're clear, Russia and Syria have had a partnership and good ties in many domains, not just, military, so not just the military domain, but in many fields for decades, right? Since the Cold War. Another reason why the West hates Syria. And so, you know, they want to provide assistance to Syria to fight ISIS, to fight all these, to fight Al-Qaeda, all these terrorist groups. But they cannot help Syria when it comes to fighting Israel, because if they do that, then they jeopardize their ties with Israel. Which, I mean, and remember, actually, the Soviet Union was the first country to recognize Israel, which is, I mean, you know, unfortunate. I'm trying to be very, 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 very diplomatic here. No, but, you know, the Russians, they've also given very, very sophisticated surface-to-air missile systems like the S-300. Syria has a lot of S-200, which is, again, an older model from the Cold War. Syria cannot get involved in an open war with Israel right now, because Russia is not going to help it. Okay, Russia does not want to engage in you know, such a thing, especially now with this Ukraine crap. Especially now. I mean, like, even if there was like a tiny hope that Russia might help Syria against Israel, which I very, very much doubt, and that hope is gone completely now that Russia has to deal with Ukraine. Okay, so one thing I will add, though, which is kind of funny, is because you hear all these people moaning in the press like, oh my God, Russia and Iran, their influence has grown inside Syria. Oh my God. Yeah, well, it's your fault. It's your fault. You know, there was no Russian military presence in Syria. No Hezbollah or Iranian military presence like now, until you decided to destroy Syria. So, you know, honestly, it's a miracle that Bashar al-Assad is still the president. Have you seen any one person in history be attacked by Israel, by the United States, by Turkey, by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, by the EU, you know, by Al-Qaeda, by ISIS, and still survive? I mean, that is, you know, I don't know what achievement you'd unlock, but it must be a pretty goddamn good one. And, you know, obviously this is not just about, oh, Bashar al-Assad. It's about the country. It's about Syria's identity, its social fabric, you know, its status as the cradle of civilization. It is a gem. It is a jewel of the Middle East. Even the Israelis, right? I don't remember his name. One of the Mossad chiefs, he said that Syria is the key to peace in the Middle East, right? The Silk Road passes through there. I mean, I could go on, right? Hyping Syria and so on, but it's true. It's true. And not only that, but the Middle East itself, you know, the Levant, always been the center of international politics. I mean, even writing was invented there, right? As I was saying before, musical notes, farming. You know, it's Iraq and Syria have a lot of treasures, and it's unfortunate that during this war you've seen so much of that destroyed, like the arch in Palmyra, right, in Tadmor, where you had Queen Zenobia, right? She was the queen of Palmyra many thousands of years ago, but apparently, you know, there are no women's rights in the Middle East. So you know, they don't teach you that. But Palmyra was also on the Silk Road, and unfortunately, you know, the ISIS they ransacked the place and destroyed so many precious things. I mean, I've been to Palmyra and I watched those videos. I mean, I couldn't actually. It makes me sick to my stomach, truly. And so many artifacts and you know, precious antiques have been stolen from Syria and just sold on the black market, you know, elsewhere in the world. But hey guys, don't worry, because if you go to Trafalgar Square, you can see a replica, a piece of shit plastic fucking replica of the arch in Palmyra, you know. So thank you very much, Whitehall, for destroying that, for helping destroy that, and then erecting a piece of shit replica in London. Wow, you are so generous. We are humbled by your generosity. Criminals, truly criminals. Thank you very much for the donation, for the generous donation, Robbins. I appreciate that, and thank you to everyone who's supporting the show. Again, we're about to begin with Niger. I have a lot to share with you, and it's again a very, very, very interesting topic. And actually, before I start, I was you guys all know Glenn Greenwald, right? He did the Snowden. He published the NSA documents with Snowden. And, you know, he's a great friend, and I was on his show yesterday on System Update, so please go watch that. You know, he is really helping independent media a lot, and, you know, he's also on Rumble. We did the live stream on Rumble, actually, and I'm live right now on Rumble. I'm live on YouTube and Rumble and Odyssey and Rockfin all at the same time. So go watch that. We talked about everything from Ukraine to Niger, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Please support his work. And his channel. So with that said, let me fill you guys in on what's happening. Okay, give me a second. We'll just get this up. Okay, so who should we start with first? The French or the Americans? All right, come on, sound off in the comments. Let's go. And also, for those of you who just joined, please tell me where you're watching from and where you've joined from. Right? Are you? We also played the game of what device are you watching on? But okay, I can't shout out your devices. Just tell me what city you're in, what country you're in, so I can shout you out. And I see you guys are saying that you want me to start. Budafan is saying they're all NATO. Okay, you guys are saying the French. You want to start with the French? We'll start with the French. You got it. We've got people tuning in from Serbia, from Australia, from Greece, Scotland, Seattle, Canada, Philly, from Malaysia, from Northeast England, Somalia, New York City, Canada, London, Australia, Brooklyn, New York, Vancouver, British Columbia, Hamburg, Germany, Iceland, New Jersey, Greece, North Korea, Somalia, Jamaica, France, from Brazil, from Pakistan, from Valhalla, from Florida, Germany, Guadeloupe, Finland. I mean, Jesus, there's every country here. Let's just form our own United Nations. What do you guys say? All in favor, say aye. I await your response in the comments. All right, meanwhile, I'm going to set up the French thing. Hold on. All right, wonderful. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Old Crow says, keep up the informative content. Are you also on Rumble? We may need you on Rumble. I am. I'm live streaming right now on Rumble. I'm live streaming as well on YouTube, on Rockfin and Odyssey, all at the same time. All four of them. So, you know, make sure that you guys have, a backup, so to speak, right? So if you're subscribed on YouTube, please make sure you're also subscribed on Rumble as well, for example, or Rockfin or Odyssey or whatever you prefer, so that we have, you know, a contingency plan and so on. And we've got another donation from Nicholas. Thank you, Nicholas, for the comment, for the donation. I appreciate that very much. So, all right, give me a second here. All right. Splendid, everybody. Very good. Jolly good show. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in Niger and whether the French are withdrawing finally or not. So every single day you have thousands of Nigerians who are camped out in front of the French base in Niamey, the capital, chanting, you know, every slogan I've seen. Man, I can't express how funny this is. Someone even buried a coffin with a French flag on it, like goodbye France Afrique, you know. Again, France Afrique is the merger of you know, the word France and Africa into one, and it refers to what was supposed to be, you know, the cultural ties between Africa and France. It's French neocolonialism. Okay, that crap about, you know, cultural ties is a cover story. It's French neocolonialism. And look at the people outside the bases. I mean, this is wild. La patrie, la mort! La somme,
Aban da irkoy batam tara ban amelo wakul him kayno gatam ne hanno dini sajo imakay ga zuzai mo no gina irkoy da ara di man irkoy da man la patrie la mort.
I think I can I got my ears blown out. No, but I think he said in the beginning "la patrie ou la mort," right? I'm not sure, but if that's what he said, but it sounds like it, right? So basically, you know, la patrie ou la mort. I mean, it's basically like our country or death, you know? Basically expressing their love for their country, right? I mean, look how many people... Look how many people that is. That is ridiculous. You cannot tell me that, you know, this coup is like a bunch of, soldiers who just decided to get together and take power. This thing has popular support. These people are outside the French base telling them, get the hell out of our country. How dare you stay here when we have canceled the military agreements? You have no right to be in this country. I think you get the idea, right? I still want to find that video with the with the coffin. Man, that thing killed me. That thing really killed me. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I got it.
Anti-French sentiment has been rising since Niger's military coup in July. However, relations soured.
No. Arrête tout de suite là. Arrête avec ces conneries. It's not been rising since the coup. It's always been there. You just didn't want to talk about it.
Further last week when France ignored the junta's order for its ambassador to leave the country. Niger...
The arrogance, right? I mean, I already did a report about their ambassador refusing to leave. Who the hell do you think you are? Like, have some self-respect, honestly. Have some self-respect. They canceled your visa. Like, even as a private citizen, you have no right to be in the country. And on top of that, you're an ambassador. You're representing your entire country. And they have canceled your diplomatic cards. You have no immunity. You are in this country illegally, right? And here's the thing. I'll come back to him, okay? I gotta save my rage.
Coordination with French forces that it had previously worked with to fight jihadist militants. Here's protester Seydou Souley Ali outside the French base on Saturday.
If they won't leave, we're here. We're going to stay, even if it's 100 years. We're going to stay here. We are determined, and France will leave.
So let me show you what's going on. The French, they have 3 bases in Niger. Okay, so Niamey is the capital. That's where all the people are protesting. You can see here on the map, Niamey is down there. Then there's another base at Oualam and another one at Ayoru. Okay, so the French forces right now, there are about 1,500 French troops in Niger, and they're grounded. They are confined to barracks. They cannot leave the base, obviously, because they shouldn't even be in the base in the first place, never mind outside. And, this is a humiliating moment for the French. This is their Saigon moment, right? So Saigon, the fall of Saigon refers to when the Americans were really, like, finally kicked out of Vietnam. And, that iconic photograph, or rather video, of the helicopter leaving the U.S. Embassy. I mean, it's just, this is their Saigon moment, okay? You have to understand, like, how serious this is and how significant this is. Because up until this moment, until right now in 2023, Niger and all these countries that were under French rule, right, that were French colonies in West Africa. So we're talking about Gabon, we're talking about Mali, we're talking about Burkina Faso, Guinea, and they've all had coups, right, in the last 3 years. What a coincidence. They are finally getting a taste of independence. They're not fully independent yet because the French refuse to leave in their infinite wisdom, right? In their arrogance, rather. They refuse to leave. And on top of that, they still have to ward off the threat of ECOWAS, which is being used as a vehicle by the French to basically smite Niger and threaten them with war, and they put sanctions on them. I mean, just so you understand, Niger is already the poorest country on earth. You can look at any bloody index you want. I mean, l'IDH in France, or the Human Development Index. Niger is at the bottom, right? So by any metric, people in Niger are suffering, right? I mean, I find that weird, because how can Niger have uranium, which is critical for France's nuclear weapons and France's electricity grid, and yet it's the poorest country on earth? Something very, very goddamn fishy here. Something very, very, very weird is going on. How on earth is this possible? I'll tell you why. It's because they take people like Bazoum, right? In Niger's case, put him in power, give his family nice perks, military aid, weapons, prestige, and basically, he sells his country in return, right? He sells his country and countrymen out, and he gets pennies. I want to ask you a question. If France is being fair towards Niger, right? France is really just buying the uranium from Niger on an equal footing. There's no monkey business going on. They're not trying to cheat Niger or basically rip them off. Then how come the contracts and the agreements between these two countries regarding uranium have been secret and classified for decades? Why would you classify it? Why not just publish it and be honest about what you're giving Niger for their resources? So that's one thing. Now, right now, the French refuse to recognize the new government, right? They like to call it the junta. They call it the junta, and they say it's an illegitimate government. So when they kicked out the French ambassador, they expelled him. God, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. How could you let it get to that point? They said, oh, we don't care. We don't recognize this government, and so therefore they don't have the authority to annul it. Who are you, the Supreme Court of Niger? Get the hell out. It's not your place to say, oh, this is the legitimate government or Niger, or it's not, or it is. You're not from Niger. It's not your country. Get out. God. And so on top of that, they are, because they know it will escalate if their troops come out, they've confined all the French forces to their barracks. On top of that, the whole purpose, right, that they claimed was necessary for France's presence was to fight the jihadists, right? This is a joint program. These are joint operations. So France has to do them in partnership with Niger's forces. Niger's forces have stopped responding or talking and interacting with the French completely. There is nothing happening. There are no operations happening because Niger refused to cooperate. They don't want the French in their country. So whether they like it or not, they have nothing to do in the country and have no business in the country. Nevertheless, here's the funny part. The French, on the surface, publicly say, we don't recognize this government. What do you think they're doing secretly right now? They're negotiating. They're in secret talks with the government because they're being humiliated. This is their Saigon moment. Make no mistake. So whether they like it or not, in the end, they have to leave. Now, the question is, how many of their troops will leave? How extensive will this withdrawal be? What is the timeline of the withdrawal? Hopefully a swift one. I mean, this is so embarrassing for them, right? And I find it funny because they should just come out and say, like, okay, well, we'll leave, like, calmly. No one. Let me be clear. Niger is not trying to humiliate the French. They humiliated themselves by being stubborn, by refusing to leave. They humiliated themselves. And I want to say something about humiliation. What about the people in Niger, the people in Africa, the people in Arabia that France humiliated? What about them? What about their dignity and their honor and their prestige, their status, their rights? What about them? How many people and countries have France humiliated? Too many to name. Too many to name. We'd be here all century going through it. So the French have no right to talk about humiliation. If there's any shame, they have brought it upon themselves. They should leave, period. When you go to someone's house and they ask you kindly, can you please leave? And you put, you just, you go and stomp, you put your foot down and act like a spoiled brat or something and refuse to leave. You bring shame upon yourself. I want to play you a clip from François Hollande. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say, but here it is. Let's see what he has to say about the French withdrawal.
Possible si il y a une intervention militaire, je crois qu'elle est aujourd'hui exclue, mais ce n'est pas à la France de décider à la place des Africains.
Alors en 2000,
quant au fait que nous puissions nous retirer, où est le problème?
So he says when it comes to withdrawal, the prospect of us leaving Niger? Where's the problem?
Quel est le mal? Moi, je suis
What's
le
wrong with
président
that?
qui a fait intervenir les militaires français au Mali.
I'm the president who got French troops to intervene in Mali in the first place.
Mon programme de 2012, quand je me suis présenté devant les Français, je n'avais pas inscrit.
During my campaign in 2012,
Je vais faire procéder à une intervention militaire. Donc, le fait de se retirer ne pose aucune difficulté de principe, ni aucune remise en cause d'une influence quelconque.
Alors justement,
right? So he says, when I was running my campaign in 2012, I remember that. You know, he was going against Sarkozy. So he says, when I was campaigning in 2012 to run for president, I didn't tell people, oh, I'm going to send French troops to Mali. It just happened. And so just like that happened, a withdrawal can happen as well. I think that's the point that he's driving at, right? I'm quite certain that that's exactly what he means. He's been cut off now. So, you know, well, I think it's easy for him to say because he's not the president, right? If he were in Macron's shoes, you know, he would definitely be feeling the heat. But then again, who gives a crap? Again, you know, it's not like I feel sorry for them or something. I know, like, you know, there's supposed to be rivalry between England and France, but this has nothing to do with that. I'm just being straightforward here, okay? So the French have... I don't think the French are going to move their troops from one base to the other. No one is even contemplating such a prospect. The entire program here is that they leave, okay? And this happened in Mali, right? The French troops were kicked out as well, in Burkina Faso. And I think the reason that they're making such an issue about this, right? Because they didn't do this, the French, when it came to the other countries that they were kicked out of. They didn't make a big deal out of it, right? They just left. But here, and remember, those countries also had coups d'etats, okay? So they could also have said, well, we don't think you're the legitimate government. But they didn't. They just left. The reason that I think they are making such a problem, you know, regarding this is because they need uranium from Niger, okay? They want to have a foothold in Africa. Remember, when they had to leave the aforementioned countries, they went to Niger, right? They went to Chad. And so now it's funny watching the French because, you know, I'm fluent in French and I understand the culture and the mentality because I was immersed in it. And I've been watching nonstop and listening and studying this entire affair. Many of them talk about, you know, repositioning the French troops in a different capacity. So they still haven't, you know, the penny still hasn't dropped that they have to leave Africa. No, it's like, well, what if we just went to Côte d'Ivoire, right, to Ivory Coast? Or move them to Chad, or, you know, like maybe we should go to Djibouti and try, you know, increasing our acts of influence there. It's like the penny hasn't dropped. And even François Hollande, you notice what he just said. He said that withdrawal, look, it's still on the screen, right? He says the prospect of a troop withdrawal from Niger does not endanger or, you know, it does not endanger our influence in Africa. That's what he's saying. Okay? He's saying that, you know, we can still influence and basically control Africa in different ways. We don't actually need to be there. So he's like colonialism light. Right? Funny. Really funny. One day, you know, whether it's tomorrow or you know, in a year's time, they're going to leave. They have no choice. Time's up. Now, I saw a news story floating around that Niger had expelled the U.S. ambassador. And, you know, at first people might think this is true because just 2 weeks ago they expelled the French ambassador, right? And both these countries have troops in Niger, and Niger have had enough. But it's not true. I could not find any proof that Niger has expelled the U.S. ambassador. Okay, so I want to clear this up. I'm treating this as a rumor. You know, and the fact is that I showed you the documents from the Nigerian foreign ministry, you know, all of them, when they tried finding a way to work with the French ambassador, right? First of all, they didn't kick him out immediately. They said, can you come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Let's have a sit down and talk about what our relationship is going to be, you know, and what shape it will take on. And the French ambassador just ignored that. I mean, this is outrageous. Like, you are in their house, right? You are a guest in Niger. You are a guest. It is through them that you are allowed to be in this country. They give you, you know, they give you a visa and they accept your credentials. They have the ultimate authority. Remember, any country can kick out diplomats of any rank, ambassador, chargé d'affaires, doesn't matter, at any time, and they don't even need a reason. No reason whatsoever. You are a guest in their country. And so, you know, there were documents about this. They invited him to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He said nothing. He didn't do anything, didn't answer, you know, complete lack of respect. And then they said, you have 48 hours to leave. There was also a document for that. And then because he also didn't leave, they said, now we're canceling your diplomatic cards and your visa. They've both been annulled. And by the way, the police have orders to apprehend you because you no longer have diplomatic immunity and you are in the country illegally. None of these documents exist for the U.S. ambassador. If Niger had really expelled the U.S. ambassador, they would proudly say it, just like they did when it came to the French ambassador. So I don't buy this story, at least not now. And I have no proof that it is true, and I am treating it as just a rumor. Okay, just wanted to clear that up with you because it's very important to you know, to separate, you know, rumors from fact, especially with an issue like this, which is so important. So let me show you something here about the United States. Should we talk about the United States? Who wants to talk about the United States and Niger? Huh? Just give me a second. I think we got a notification here, and it says that Gordon has joined on Patreon. Well, thank you very much, Gordon. And I don't know what number we are at right now, but I need to plug the show. Remember, you know, there are no sponsors here. It's you guys are the sponsors. Okay, so I rely entirely on your generosity to keep the show going. Okay, so if you can afford it, and if you enjoy my work, you find it informative, you learned something, or you just found it funny, you know, making fun of Victoria Nuland or one of these spooks, then please do consider supporting the show. You're supporting independent media after all, and it's good to build an alternative to corporate media. Okay, so if you can afford it, I'd be very grateful. Even $1 a month helps, or $1, you know, a one-time donation on PayPal or Cash App or Venmo is also most appreciated, and I'd be much obliged. And they're all, you know, all payment methods are available. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, PayPal, Cash App. You know, you can send cash on a goddamn pigeon for all I care. You know, I'm appreciative of it and grateful. So hold on, let me look at where we are right now. I need the Biden sniffanometer. So we're at 674, guys. We're at 674. We need to get to 700. Okay, we've been trying to get to the goal for the last week or so. So do the math. We need 26 more people to get there, and we've got over 1,000 people watching now. So I'm sure there are 26 people among you who'd please be so kind as to join on Patreon. Okay, I don't want to badger you, but I'm badgering you. So yeah. What was that phrase I came up with during the BRICS Summit? It's like, I'm tired, pay me or something. I don't know. But seriously, guys, we really need to grow. And like I said, we've got over 1,000 people watching. I'm sure that there are 26 of you kind souls who would really make my day by joining on Patreon. So I'd really appreciate that. I'm gonna keep the site and my phone ready. So in case anytime somebody joins, I play a crab dance, right? You guys want to hear the crab dance, right? So once we get to 700, we will have a new updated crab dance. That's what I do every time we hit the new one. Yeah, Claudia's reminding me of my phrase. It was, I'm tired, give me money, or something like that, right? All right, good. Thanks, Claudia. I appreciate it. So yeah, like I said, we're at 674. I know we can do it. I believe in you guys. Okay, I'm sure there are 26 nice souls among you. But again, those of you who cannot afford it or are not in the mood, remember you can support the show just by liking or commenting on the videos. It helps with the algorithm. So let me talk about. There's still some things we need to address when it comes to Niger, and I'm just kind of hoping that like I can kill time enough for one of you to join so I can play a crab dance. Okay, I'm keeping I'm keeping an ear out for it. Okay, so give me a second. Oh, hold on. We got another. We've got an email here. This is a donation on CashApp from Griffinich. Thank you very much. I don't see any note, but I appreciate it nevertheless. And thank you for that. We've also got one here on Venmo. So thank you very much. Preacha says, keep up the good work. Love your podcast, Richie. Thank you very much, Preacher. I'm glad you do. And by the way, speaking of podcast, this is important for you guys to know. All the stuff that I'm doing right now, the whole, all the content I'm producing is available on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you guys listen to podcasts, look up Richard Medhurst. You're going to find all of the stuff. So, because some of you guys asked me for this, and I was happy to oblige. So, if you can't watch, but you still want to listen to all the knowledge that I'm dropping, then yeah, you can do so on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcasts. Okay, so there we go. Claudia, thank you so much. Claudia just updated the Biden sniffinometer. Hold on, give me a second to put this up on the screen. And we actually just got someone who joined on Patreon. Thank you very much. Your name is Mala. Thank you very much, Mala. Everybody put your hands together. Give a big round of applause. And hold on, Claudia just updated this. So actually now she needs to update it again, but I'm not going to tell her even though she can hear me. All right, hold on. Where's the thing? Give me one moment. I think we got another one. So we've got, hold on. We've got Jean, who also just joined. Thank you very much. Guys, give them a big round of applause. So now we are actually not at 674, but 676. That's amazing, right? So now we only need 14 more people to get there. And I know you guys can do it. I believe in you. And I have faith in you. So I know we're going to get there tonight. Come on, guys. Let's do that. This is the pledge drive, all right? I need your support. I'm tired. Give me money. And now I'm going to play crab dance. Claudia says she can hear me. Yeah, yes, I know that. All right, let's go. Come on.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch out.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
we got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Why you text Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
I'm sorry, but that is art, okay? I'm giving myself props. Thank you, Nick, for joining. I'm sorry, but that is art. Thank you for joining as a member on YouTube, as a mega supporter. I appreciate that. And Zachary as well. Now you guys have access to emojis, apparently, that Claudia set up. She did a great job. Let me flex them. Hold on. And we got actually on CashApp from Crazy Puppet. Thank you very much, Crazy Puppet. Says, great job. Thank you. It's good to see you, Crazy Puppet. And we got Michael and Rare Wolf, who just joined on Patreon. Should I hit the crab dance again? Come on, tell me in the comments. Do you want me to run the crab dance again? Because I'm going to do it anyway, but I just wanted to know if you want me to do it now or after the next segment. So hold on. Where are we at now? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 members. So that puts us at... give me a second. Where the hell were we? Where's the Biden sniffinometer? There we go. So this needs updating. We're at 6, 7, 8. And now we got another one, RJ. Thank you very much, RJ. We're at 6, 7, 9. Okay, so we only need 21 more supporters. Look at that. Look at that. In the span of a few minutes, you guys have done me proud. You've done me proud. Thank you very much for that. I'm grateful for your support. I told you I have faith in you guys. I know we're gonna hit 700 before the end of the stream. So come on, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Let's hit the crab dance again. That's what you guys deserve. Everybody give them a good round of applause.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله في كلاب بصراحة يعني ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
we got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Why you text Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Look at Claudia. She already hit me up with the updated one. Thank you very much. And let me add, by the way, that I just see a nice note from Véro. She says, j'espère que tu n'as pas raté Macron hué par 80 000 personnes hier au stade. Malheureusement, je l'ai raté. So basically, Macron was booed in a stadium yesterday by 80,000 people. My Lord, Christmas has come early. Give me the clip. Let's go. I need to play this clip. Oh, man. And we have another donation, a nice one here from Rex and Jethro. Thank you very much for the lovely donation. I appreciate that. And we have another generous donation from BB. Says, free Palestine and pray for Armenia. I love you. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Thank you very much. You guys are very kind. And You know, I love it. And the crab dance was obviously for anyone who joined on YouTube as a member, because it's also a monthly thing. So yeah. Hold on a second. Let me oh, okay, we have the clip. Claudia has provided. Claudia has come through for me. Claudia has made me happy. Okay, hold on. Let's play this. Give me a second. I'm not ready. You're gonna get my live reaction now. Okay, I've not seen this. I don't know. Oh mon Dieu. Okay, come on. Oh my God. Am I ready? I'm not ready. Man. Oof. Okay, hold on. Oh my God. Okay. Macron getting booed in a stadium by 80,000 people. I have not seen this. Let's go. He can't even make it. Look at him, man. Oh God. He's like, these microphones are not loud enough to circumvent the booing. What shall I do? Yo. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look, man, let me I would feel bad for him if he was like somebody else, but you know, we're just talking about Niger like the whole time, right? After his arrogance, where he stood at a podium just like this one, you know, in front of his ambassadors last week, man, 7 days ago, right? And he tells them, you know, you guys are doing a great job, and especially my ambassador in Niger, who spits in the face of Africa and behaves like a colonial envoy, refuses to leave Niger even after they expelled him from the country. This is for Niger. This is for Africa. This is for all the countries that France has shat on. Macron wants to behave like Charles de Gaulle. He thinks he's, you know, colonial hot shit. Here, this is what you get. Yo, look at his face, man. Oh God. Oh God, he knows he's been screwed. He's like trying to adjust the microphones, you know, like how do I turn this down? Yo man, goodbye.
Bonjour tous.
Oh putain, tu t'es fait dégommer. Mais comme ils t'ont dégommé. Mais comme ils t'ont humilié. Oh mon Dieu. Oh là 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 là. Vas-y, dégage. Dégage. Yo, man. I feel so good. I feel revitalized. I feel invigorated. I feel alive. I feel good. Especially, you know, reading all this colonial shit that he is doing. Sorry, man, I don't like to laugh at other people's misery, you know, or suffering, but he Tu veux la France-Afrique? Bah, it's karma, man. You know. Anyway, let's keep talking about Niger. Let me tell you what's going on. Before I continue, again, I'm going to ask you guys to please join. We have just had a lot of people who just joined. A lot of kind people, but we still need to go. Okay, I still need your support because I rely on you guys. I need you to help me out so I can continue my work. We're at 679. We still need 21 more people. We've got over 1,000 people watching right now, so I'm sure that there are 21 people among you who would be ready to donate. Even $1 a month would help. Honestly, even $1 a month, €1 a month right now, the way the world is going, you know, the way the world is heading, maybe you should donate in renminbi or rubles, because it's looking, BRICS is looking pretty solid right now. Okay, anyway, let's proceed. Excuse me. Let's talk about the United States, shall we? What is the United States doing in Niger? Well, nothing good, I can tell you that. Sorry, I need to... We're going to do some ASMR. Hydrate. Okay, come on. Enough fooling around. So let me fill you in on what the Americans are up to in Niger. The United States is withdrawing its troops, not from Niger, but from Niamey, from the capital. Okay? You need to understand that while the French have 3 military bases in Niger, one in Niamey in the capital, and as I showed you, another one in Walam and Ayoru. The Americans, they have one in Niamey, which is Air Base 101, and then another in Agadez called Air Base 201. For those of you who are familiar with the military or history, you know your history, this is not the 101st Airborne, okay? It's just called 101, okay? So right now, the United States have 1,100 troops in Niger. They have evacuated and withdrawn all non-essential personnel as of yesterday, and now they are moving their troops from the capital, Niamey, from Air Base 101 to Air Base 201. Let us be frank. Let us be frank. The United States are not in as bad of a spot as their French allies, right? Relatively speaking. Does that mean that Niger are happy with the Americans being there? No. No, they're not. But because there is such a cloud of neocolonialism hanging over, this horrific past that is still fresh in everybody's minds. France's neocolonial relationship with Niger, which persists to this day, right? The theft of the uranium, its resources, the subjugation. Then, that's why there's so much more resentment from Niger, so much more resentment of the French by Nigerians because of that neocolonial past and relationship. With the Americans, everyone understands that, the Americans are also there for to their benefit. They're not in Niger because they care about fighting jihadists. This is a rubbish excuse. This is propaganda. This is this is propaganda of the highest order. It's an absolute disgrace, right? They create problems in Whitehall, in Washington. They create problems in the Middle East and Africa, and then pretend that they are there to save you. Oh, the white man is here to save you from the evil jihadists and ISIS and and Al Qaeda, which, oh, by the way, we helped create. The Americans know that they need to get back, physically get back. That's why they have pulled out and withdrawn over there to Agadez. Now, Agadez, let me just ask you something right now before I continue. And I want you to comment right now whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, especially Americans, especially if you're an American. Have you ever heard of Agadez or Air Base 201? Do you know what that is? Please tell me right now in the comments. I'm going to wait. I'll wait a second, okay? Ruby says no. I'm just going to read the responses. No, nope, no, no, no. One person says yes. Second person says yes. Most of you say no. The overwhelming majority say no. Actually, you know what? We're going to have a little bit more fun. I'm going to make a poll because why not? Okay, hold on. Let's make a poll, shall we? I'm going to start a poll. If you're an American, have you ever heard of Air Base 201 in Agadez? Or rather, for the Americans watching. Yes or no? I'm just going to wait because I want to have fun with this, okay? Most of you are saying no, but I still want you to click on the poll, okay? So again, Agadez is the place, but the base itself is called Airbase 201, okay? Adam says most Americans cannot point out Africa on a map. You think they'd know about a base in Niger? Well, to be fair, because I laughed, that's equally true of people in England, right? But in any case, most of you, 90% of the of those of you who just voted in the poll say no. You have not heard of Airbase 201, and we've got just over 140 votes now. So okay, I'm just gonna go with no. Well, guess what? You should have heard of it. You should know it because you paid for it. You paid for it, my friends. You paid for Airbase 201. You know how much this base cost? This base cost over $100 million, right? It's one of those massive sinkholes that you have, in the Pentagon. You guys know that the Pentagon have been audited, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. But the point here is that every single time that they've been audited, trillions of dollars are unaccounted for. Oh, gee, I haven't the foggiest where these dollars could have, could have gone to. Maybe everyone just likes coffee and, right? Stacking up on donuts. I don't know. Or, it goes towards projects that are not exactly kosher, right? That you can't talk about in front of a congressional hearing. So the truth is that Airbase 201 in Niger is the largest American drone base, not in Niger, not in Africa, in the world. This is the largest American drone base in the world. And when you have a country that has 800 bases, I'd say that's pretty unique. That sticks out, right? There's something special about this, especially when you paid for it. So the Americans, I did a video about this about 2 years ago. You'll find it on the channel. It's called America's Shadow War in Africa, or something like that. Shadow War in Africa. The Americans have a military presence in 50 out of 54 African countries, okay? And of course, the way that they do this, and by the way, this is a note for my video about Syria, is that, for example, in Syria, they say, oh, we only have 900 troops there, only, Yeah, except they're all illegal. They don't have any visas or permission to even be in Syria, but yeah, it's just 900. That's not true. The true figure is in the thousands. Why? Because you have people known as contractors, right? Or consultants, which is a nice way of saying, somebody who's either a spook or also a grunt carrying a gun. I'm actually curious, have any of you ever worked as consultants or contractors for the military? I'm quite sure that it's more common than you think, but and I'm pretty sure we'll get a couple of yeses in the comment section, but there's a delay, so I'll wait for a second. Okay, so the thing is that in Niger, the Americans have a very, 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 big incentive to stay there, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, this thing cost over $100 million. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be cheaper and supposed to be completed much earlier. But of course, the money just keeps disappearing and it takes forever. And, I think that's shocking, honestly, that most Americans don't even know about this. And they're there's an entire war being waged from that thing. It's being used to support so-called anti-ISIS efforts in Africa and the Middle East. It's a complete lie, right? It's more of like for drone striking weddings and funerals and stuff. But I don't want to get too grim, but that's the truth. So some of you are saying yes. So one of you said yes, I was hired as a contractor. Okay, that. I'm not going to read the rest of that, but it was funny. The thing is, when we go to Niger, when we talk about Niger, Victoria Nuland arrived in Niger right after the coup. Do you remember? I mean, I was kind of shocked, and I found it funny and also disgusting at the same time, because look what happened. She had just got promoted. Victoria Nuland, who is like, the female version of Dick Cheney. Or, just like an absolute goddamn monster, like something out of the Doom, and has done nothing but destroy countries like Ukraine, just going there to impose American foreign policy. And again, when we say American foreign policy, it's really just these, elites, these corporations in Washington and Wall Street that are running the show. She is their representative. So now she is the number 2 person in the State Department. She is the next person under Blinken. Can you believe that? And Blinken himself, I mean, he's, he was with Obama. They screwed up Syria. When I say screwed up, I mean, it's not like they had any business being there. No, they destroyed it. And they did the same thing to Yemen. So Victoria Nuland gets promoted, and she goes to Niger because she thinks that, I'm the American, I'm the number 2 American at the State Department, so they're going to roll out a red carpet for me and treat me like I'm royalty and something. And no, that's not what happens. You know how they treated Victoria Nuland? They gave her the finger. They did not even meet with her. That is how much, they resent her and what she represents and the interests that she represents. They did not even meet with her. Remember, she's ostensibly, allegedly a diplomat. Yes? Right? So, on paper. Diplomacy is all about, actions, right? The actions in diplomacy speak louder than words. So, when Biden went to Saudi Arabia and no one went to meet him at the airport, like no one of importance, you're sending a message. You're saying we don't really respect you. We're not going to give you special treatment. You're not welcome here. And that's exactly what happened in Niger. So Bazoum, who's the deposed president, they would not let her meet with him, although he does get to call Macron every day. So I guess there's that. Maybe he can call Nuland. Victoria Nuland was not allowed to meet Bazoum, and she was not allowed to meet anyone, from the top brass of the presidential guard. Remember that the coup leaders are from the presidential guard. It's funny because they actually put down a coup in a couple of years ago, right? So they're supposed to be protecting the president from such a thing. But this shows you that you got a lot of young men, our generation in Africa, in the Middle East, who are just sick of being controlled by people in Wall Street and people in the city. Okay, the city of London, which is the financial district in London, right? They have had enough, even to the point that one of one of these people who actually did meet with Nuland was groomed by the United States, right? He was groomed to be the man, right? That's how they refer to him in this in the article that I read to you, right? So basically, he was the point man for all the Americans who were running around, in Niger, whether they're State Department, Pentagon, spooks, whatever, So they groomed him to be their guy in the Nigerian army, and he just gave them the finger. The article finished with one sentence, right? And I talked about this with Glenn Greenwald yesterday. He was asked, about his intentions, and he said, like, even that he would risk anything, even his life, to have independence and have sovereignty. Okay? So I want you to understand that the Americans, they have a lot of vested interests in Niger. They are not welcome in Niger, but they're not in as bad of a position as the French because of the neo-colonial history with the French. So where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with either a partial withdrawal, perhaps, they've already withdrawn from Niamey, right? But the French, I think, their withdrawal will become a complete, full withdrawal. There is no way that Niger, or rather Niamey, are going to accept, like a few French troops staying. No, it's you get out. The Americans are, a tougher nut to crack. And like I said, there isn't this resentment to, at the same level that there is towards the French. And one thing you have to understand is that the Americans are Machiavellian. Okay, when I say the Americans, I mean, of course, people in Washington. And you should not put it past them to screw France in order to stay in Niger. Do you understand what I'm telling you? The Americans, I think, are going to play this situation as follows. They are going to allow and maybe even help Niger get rid of the French in order for a limited amount of troops to stay in Niger because of the drone base, especially Air Base 201, because they have a lot of a huge incentive to stay there. Let me give you an analogy. and a real life example of this happening. The Americans did it to France with Australia. Do you guys remember that the French had signed a deal to supply Australia with 30 diesel-powered submarines, okay? Now, when it comes to submarines, you know you have diesel-powered and nuclear-powered, okay? Nuclear-powered does not mean that there are nuclear weapons on board. It just means that you're using a reactor instead of diesel, and it can stay submerged for longer times, provided you have enough air and food and so on, right? They're just better. What happened is that the French called this the deal of the century, which sounds like something, you know, Trump coined. But they really, like, I mean, they were being paid like billions for these submarines. It was ridiculous. It's like, you know, they're almost ripping the Australians off, right? And here's what happens. The Americans and us, the British, went to the Australians, right? Because they're a Five Eyes country, and told them, drop the deal with the French. We're going to give you nuclear-powered submarines. Not nuclear-armed, so no nuclear weapons, but nuclear-powered. And of course, this is to do with provoking China. Yes? So, just like that, the French, you know, they found out, and they were fuming. They were goddamn fuming. How could you do this to us? This was such a stab in the back that the French, you know what they did? They recalled their ambassadors. Let me explain to you. In diplomacy, okay, let me explain to you how this works in diplomacy. There's like a scale of how bad things are in a relationship with another country. Now, obviously, the worst thing right at the top would be completely severing ties and just, you know, cutting all ties with that country. Underneath that, you have the expulsion or the withdrawal, or rather recalling of ambassadors. Okay, so when France say, hey, you, our ambassador in Washington, we want you to come home to Paris for consultation, that is sending a message to the Americans saying that we are so goddamn pissed off at you that we don't even want our ambassador in your country anymore. That is how much how much resentment we have towards you, right? How upset we are. Okay, that's like the second worst thing you can have in terms of diplomatic relations. So France did that, right? To show, like, even the United States, right? One of their biggest allies, they recalled their ambassador, right? And you remember Macron was so angry, and he started calling the Australian Prime Minister, what did he call it? I forgot what he said he's a liar or something, you know, and they had a spat, basically, so on. Didn't matter, right? It didn't matter that we had, we've been allies with the French for decades, right? That we fought alongside each other in World War II. It doesn't matter. Washington wanted, and Washington got. And you can include Whitehall in there, if you will, as well, because the UK and the US and Australia together made this alliance called AUKUS, right? Which is, I mean, one of the most horrible names, but it is logical, right? So don't put it past Washington to screw the Elysee, right? To screw Paris and stab them in the back. If they can, they'll do it at the drop of a hat, right? Now, just again, to be clear, Victoria Nuland was not allowed to meet with the top brass of the Presidential Guard, nor with Bazoum, the deposed president. So I am not saying that they made some kind of deal. No. This is a long-term thing, right? The Americans, by withdrawing from Niamey, they're signaling to Niger that we are not a threat. Okay, we do not intend on, staying here and being stubborn like the French are. We're just going to withdraw to Airbase 201 because it's also a more important and valuable base, right? And they're also on edge. They're on thin ice. So when they send home the non-essential personnel, these are steps that you would take before withdrawal, right? So the Americans are signaling that maybe if you really want us to get out, I guess we'll have to get out, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, the Americans are not in as bad of a situation as the French. The French, no one wants them in Niger. It is over. France-Afrique, French neocolonialism is dead, gone, and buried. You saw those people with their, this killed me, honestly. Look how funny that is.
Anti-French sentiment has been rising since Niger's
You know, it's like that meme where they're carrying the coffin and dancing. This is, you know, this tops that.
July. However, relations soured.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! So we shall see what happens. And remember, ECOWAS, the regional alliance that is chaired by Nigeria at present, is a tool used by the United States. It's a tool used by France. And if they can envisage a war with Niger, and they're crazy enough to do it, I mean, of course the French would be behind that, because it's difficult for France right now to move inside Niger without showing, you know, to the world that, yeah, actually we are still a neo-colonial power and we still own Niger. So they have to do it, you know, through ECOWAS as well, right? So on the one hand, they're saying we don't recognize you, we're not leaving, right? They're trying to play that game. They think they're smart. And then on the other hand, they're pushing ECOWAS, right? Nigeria, unfortunately, you know, has not seen the light, shall we say, and has not broken completely from, you know, from the neo-colonial European American structure in Africa. But we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. Of course, you know, I've been following this and reporting on this for you know, every step of the way. So everything you need to know about Niger, it's all right here on the channel. I've made a playlist for you. And you know, whatever the Americans, whatever the French do, I'm covering it. It's here, and you know, I'm gonna have all the breaking news for you all the time. That's where we're at right now. That's where we are at. Let me show you what the new Prime Minister in Niger had to say. Here, take a listen.
Vous avez dû voir la mobilisation qu'il y a. Le gouvernement a déjà dénoncé les accords qui leur permettent d'être sur notre territoire. Elles sont dans une position d'illégalité. Et je pense que les échanges qui sont en cours.
Just as a side note, the translation is not exactly the best, because when he said that they are in an illegal position, yeah, this is a literal word-for-word translation from French into English. What he's saying is that France is in Niger illegally. Their presence is illegal. That is the idiomatic, the true sense of what, you know, of his sentence and what he's saying.
Sur notre territoire. Elles sont dans une position d'illégalité. Et je pense que les échanges qui sont en cours devraient permettre très rapidement que ces forces se retirent de notre pays. En ce qui concerne l'ambassadeur, je pense qu'il n'y a rien à faire. Il n'a pas eu le comportement adéquat en tant que diplomate. Moi-même, j'ai demandé à un moment donné, pour préserver les relations entre États. La France est un pays avec lequel nous avions toujours développé des relations de coopération. Dans ce cadre, j'ai demandé au ministre des Affaires étrangères ici d'envoyer un message officiel pour l'inviter à venir échanger avec nous, voir dans quelle mesure on pourrait procéder disons, à un règlement, des escalades, comme on le dit. Il a refusé de le faire. En face, c'est un comportement de mépris et cela n'est pas acceptable. Ce n'est pas acceptable.
I admire this man because he is a true diplomat. He's again the prime minister and not the minister of foreign affairs, but this guy's a diplomat. He speaks in a diplomatic manner, you know, in a friendly manner, and he says, you know, he calls things out for what they are, right? He didn't say, I mean, I'm pretty sure he feels that way, but he didn't, you know, say things as directly as people are on the streets, but still, you know, he got to the point, and he said that we did not want to kick out the French ambassador. Our wish, our objective, our goal, our aim initially was not to expel the French ambassador. On the contrary, we wanted to, you know, rediscuss and envisage what kind of prospective future that, you know, we can embark on. What are we going to do now that this, you know, we have a new government in place, and you are the neo-colonial power that have been plundering us and you know, raping and pillaging and robbing and occupying our country for decades, right? I mean, again, let me remind you that the 2 mining towns that are, in Niger that the French are plundering, they were founded in 1969. They don't even have electricity. Can you think of how disgusting this is, that France has nuclear weapons and a nuclear energy grid powered by uranium from Niger, and Niger is the poorest country on earth. Niger, the towns that mine this uranium for France do not even have a normal electricity grid. Goddamn diesel, fuel, never mind nuclear. Remember, the French, 70% of their nuclear grid, of their energy grid is nuclear powered. 1 in 3 light bulbs in France is powered by uranium that comes from Niger. There is no way on earth you can tell me that France relies on this uranium so much, and yet Niger is the poorest country on earth, just, somehow. They're being ripped off. They're being plundered. This is called theft. Do you understand? Period. Theft. It's disgusting. It was disgusting in the 1960s, in the 1860s, the 60s, and it's disgusting now. No, they weren't mining uranium 3 centuries ago, but you understand my point, right? This illusion, right? This farce that they teach you in the West, in universities, that, in 1945, we all saw the light because, we defeated the Nazis, which of course is a good thing, but we all saw the light that colonialism is bad, and, we just left all the colonies and we allowed them to be independent in our infinite grace and wisdom because we're so benevolent, we allowed them to become independent. Like, thank you. No, you fucking didn't. You fucking didn't. No, you didn't. That is a goddamn lie. Any professor or teacher or person or analyst who tells you that crap, that, decolonization happened in 1945, is a fool. A fucking fool. Fool. It never happened until now. Now, I'm happy that I'm alive to witness this, honestly. I really am. I really am. And because this is real decolonization, that's why France won't leave. They need to plunder Niger. That's why they won't leave. Because it matters. Because it's real. That's why they put sanctions on Niger. You got hundreds of trucks lining up at the border. They can't fucking get in the country because of the situation that ECOWAS has created. And of course, at the behest of France and the United States. Even if Niger were to import all the goods and products that it needs from allies like Burkina Faso and Mali, who actually also had coups and kicked the goddamn French out of their countries, who gained independence. Even if, once again, hundreds of trucks lining up because it's a security it's a security nightmare. The borders weren't even open. You couldn't travel by plane from Niger or over Niger for the last weeks because it's a new situation. There's an adjustment period, right? And it's so expensive even to get food and products from the allies that Niger has. So, these sanctions are biting hard. They're biting hard, and they always bite hard, and they're illegal. They have no moral or legal basis whatsoever. They're just as illegal as the sanctions on Syria, on Cuba, on Iran, on Korea. Illegal. Illegal. They kill people, man. You need to understand. This is not like, you are not allowed to import, Ferraris or something. No, this is, shit, we can't import replacement parts for medical equipment that people will die. People will die as a result if they don't get. There's no medication. There's no medicine, no drugs to treat this and that disease. 90% of people in Syria are in poverty. Complete food insecurity. They don't even know where their next meal is coming from. In the true sense of the word, in every sense of the word, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. Can you imagine living like that? Niger is the poorest country on earth, and they bite it and smite it with these sanctions. How dare they? How can you be so evil? How can you be so evil to do such a thing like that? That's why people have had enough. When you have been subjugated and forced into poverty like this, you have no option but to give a middle finger and say goodbye, get out of my country, go now. I'm happy, I'm so proud to see these countries become independent. I'm happy that I'm alive to see this. This is real decolonization. This is it. This is the real thing. The real thing. If it weren't real, they wouldn't be so upset in Paris. Now, would they? Would they? I rest my case. I rest my case. Thank you very much. We got... hold on. When I was speaking, we had some people who were kind enough to join our Patreon. Look at this. We got Lorna. We have Cindy, who was already on Patreon and raised her monthly pledge. We got Loki. We got Alan. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. And on CashApp, France said, Vive l'Afrique et la Syrie. Merci, Richie. Thank you so much. Vive l'Afrique, vive la Syrie. Vive le tiers-monde. Vive le global south. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to play you guys a crab dance, okay? What are we at right now, Claudia? Help me out. Help me out. What number are we at right now? I honestly, I'm not done with my rant. I still want it to continue because I'm angry at this shit, you know. You know how it's so disgusting. Like, let me say something. These countries in the global south, they have been plundered and raped and pillaged for centuries. They're still being plundered. And then when people leave, because think how bad the situation is to be that you leave your family, your friends, your life, everything that you've ever known, and you go to the Mediterranean Sea and you risk drowning, you know, for the crime, of wanting a better life. How fucking dare you? How dare you want a better life? Go back, you scum. How do these people speak like that? You know, like Priti Patel, right? Or Braverman, these home secretaries in the UK, who are themselves children of immigrants. Yeah, so they get in the UK and close the fucking door behind them. How dare you? How dare you do that and speak like that about people who are running away from your goddamn policies? You know, there's a reason that these countries are quote unquote underdeveloped. They're not underdeveloped. They've been raped. You goddamn raped them. You stole all their shit. You stole their resources. That's why they're underdeveloped. When the Arabs had street lighting, London was a village. Remember that quote from Lawrence of Arabia? When Cordoba, right, in Andalusia in southern Spain, when the Arabs put street lighting there, London was a village. Don't come here and tell me that, you know, the whites, you know, the West are advanced and developed and industrialized countries because they're just, you know, they just have the gift or something. No, they plundered India, right? I mean, the British Empire, we had the largest empire in history. 1/4 of the world's population, 1/4 of the Earth's landmass under British rule. We had the biggest empire in history. And then you have morons who say, well, you know, we built a railway system in India. Yeah, so we can we can plunder the goddamn country, you fool. You think we just like built a railway system in India out of the, you know, the goodness of our hearts because we're so benevolent and full of grace and generosity? What the fuck is wrong with you? You really have people who believe this crap, you know? And they're thinking like, well, you know, I'm not responsible for that. I had nothing to do with that, you know? That was like a couple generations. No. You are profiting, enjoying the fruits of this plundering, if we can call them fruits. You're enjoying and basking in the wealth, right? The streets, the system, the infrastructure that you are living in was built off of the backs of slaves from resources that were stolen. That is the truth. And people, you know, they won't even like fucking acknowledge that, right? Never mind pay back what you stole. This is really not complicated. This is really, really not complicated, you know? And so what they're doing to Niger right now, they're giving Niger the same treatment that they give to Syria, that they give to Cuba. Like, you do what we tell you, or we're going to screw your country. Even more than we already screwed it up, right? We are going to isolate you internationally. We're going to put sanctions on you. We are going to turn up the heat, right? We're going to make sure that people in your country are so desperate and suffering so much that they rise up and get rid of you for us. So they do our job for us, right? They will get so angry and desperate that they will overthrow you at our behest, right? For us. Guess what? That doesn't work, right? Not one of these countries, whether it's Iran or it's Syria or Iraq or you know, Venezuela or Cuba or Korea, never happened. Never happened. The only thing it does is increase people's resolve. It makes them realize who the real enemy is, you know, who's actually responsible for their suffering. It's a shame, you know, it's a goddamn shame, because the people who put these sanctions in place, you know, this like handful of people, literally a handful of people who you could fit in one goddamn room or one building. These people are evil. They have no connection to their own population, right? What do people in America, you know, have in common with someone like Victoria Nuland? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This woman works for herself, for her own ambition, right? She just got promoted, and she works for corporations and Wall Street, just like, you know, Lloyd Austin, just like Joe Biden, just like Rishi Sunak, right? Braverman, the whole lot of them. Out of touch goddamn reptiles. I don't know, one of you guys said that in the comments once, and it was funny. This is really, it really makes me angry, because, you know, people could get along well, and they do. Honestly, go look up any of these big channels on YouTube that do travel vlogs, you know? What's his name? Drew Binsky. He's really great. Drew Binsky, right? I think he's been to every country on earth. Wow. Right? And he's an American, right? And you can see how, you know, he's walking through Damascus, and people have got nothing but love, right? Nothing but kindness. I mean, again, this is the nature of Arab hospitality and just how people are. But no one cares that, oh, you're an American and your government is doing it. It just doesn't, it's not real. It's not real. People have no problem with each other, you know, wherever they come from. It's a small, tiny amount of people running corporations, running Wall Street, running the banks, running the government, who are working to their own benefit, for their own good, right? And screwing everybody else, including their own population and people overseas. People have no problem with each other. It's only those corrupt people at the top, and the media who also work for them, right? It's the same group who poison people's minds, right? And make them think like, oh God, oh, the Chinese are a threat. Oh no, they want to put spyware in my phone, and they want to threaten the United States. And you know, they make you hate countries that you can't even place on a map, that you never even heard of. I mean, and the same thing in England. You know, you get people like their mind's so poisoned, like, oh my God, Saddam Hussein, he's such a threat. You know, they just poison your minds, and they fill them full of shit so that you don't object when they go and commit acts of unspeakable violence in your name. That is the truth. That is the media's job. That's why corporate media is disgusting. And I'll just finish by saying that's why you should support independent media. I don't mean me. I mean anyone, everyone in independent media. Seriously, no matter who you're supporting, it's for a good cause, right? These people don't deserve to run the show, so to speak, right? They don't deserve to have that power to poison people's minds. This is so unnecessary and just evil, right? We need to end that. Just tell people the truth, be neutral, and that's it. That's it. There's no need to start making, run a proxy war against Russia and use Ukraine to do it. Put sanctions on Niger, put sanctions on Syria. This madness has to end. It has to end in Europe and in America. It has to end. There's no need for this. People get along just fine with each other. Let me show you what's going on in something very, very interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up this thing up on the screen. Okay, so thank you, Claudia, for updating the thing. Go, you know the thing. Claudia just updated the Biden sniffinometer. Look at this, guys. Look how awesome you are. We are at 682. We are only 18 people away from hitting the goal. Please, guys, do me proud and help out independent media. And please consider donating $1 a month, £1 a month, maybe now 1 rupee or renminbi a month, because of the way BRICS is growing. Anything helps, really. I'm not kidding. I appreciate all of your kind comments and questions. And if you want to shoot me a question or a comment through PayPal or CashApp, you can do that too. So, again, thanks to all these people who joined on Patreon now. I'm sure we can get to 700. Let's do it, guys. Come on. Let's do it. I believe in you. I have faith in you. And you be doing, a good thing. It's for a good cause by supporting independent media. And if you don't give it to me, give it to someone else in independent media as well. You'd still be doing good nevertheless. And I'd be equally just as happy. So, give me a second to pull up the next. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Casey says 18 people, flames and crabs. DVI says, do you accept rubles? I mean, I think on Patreon you can put in any currency you like, but now that I remember the sanctions, I'm not sure. Baron says it's the Joe meter. I mean, come on. Look, man, I like Joe meter, but Joe sniffinometer. I mean, it also sounds good, no? You guys give me your best names for this thing, and Gamer for Life seems to appreciate it, so I'm on the right track. So I'm going to continue, and I know you guys will do me right, or rather do me proud, and we'll get to 700 while I'm doing the segment. So take a look at this, okay? Okay. So this is huge news. Iran and Iraq have signed a railway deal. They've been planning this thing for years, okay? And now they've finally done it. And this is very important because it plays into the infrastructure of the entire Silk Road, right? Remember the Silk Road, the ancient Silk Road, which is the most famous and important trade route in human history. Look how far this thing stretched, right? All the way from China to what is today, Constantinople. Sorry, the other way around. Constantinople, which is today Istanbul. I mean, this is a project that China is reviving now with the new Silk Road. Same plan. Build a corridor, a land bridge between all these countries, whether it's maritime or well, I said land bridge, so either land bridge or maritime, to promote growth, economic growth, promote trade, and it benefits everybody equally, right? And now Iran and Iraq have started work on this rail link. I mean, I can't stress enough how important this is. The idea, if you look at the map, okay, so the red part in the north and the green, okay, so the southern green routes, these would be part of the land bridge, okay? So the southern route has upper and lower branches that pass respectively through Abu Kamal and Al Tanaf. Remember, these are Abu Kamal is basically on the border with Iraq over there, and Al Tanaf is also at the intersection of the Jordanian, Iraqi, and Syrian borders, right? So this is so important. You see what's going on here? Basically, this is going to help Syria, it will help Lebanon, it will help Iraq, it will help Iran. And, you know, this is precisely what I meant when I said that the Americans want to sabotage and isolate the resistance axis. It's not only about, neutering or neutralizing what they claim is a threat to peace in the region. You're not even from the goddamn region. Mind your business. The same goes for the Israelis. They're just Europeans. So this is why they want to destroy it, because Iran, helps the resistance in Lebanon. So Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Iran also supports the resistance in Syria, right? Help defeat ISIS, help defeat Al-Qaeda. Iran supports the Palestinians. Whether it's PIJ or it's Hamas, doesn't matter. In recent years, the resistance has become so strong and more and more unified. That is what is so crazy. You know, the Israelis and Americans thought they can divide and rule, but actually they've just done the opposite. Hezbollah is stronger than ever. Syria did not fall despite, dozens of countries and actors trying to destroy it. The Hashd al-Sha'bi, which is the Popular Mobilization Units or Popular Mobilization Forces, PMU, PMF, in Iraq, they also helped defeat ISIS, right? And they were supported by Iran. The Palestinians, look how they destroyed the Israeli attack on Jenin. They completely took them by surprise. All of these factions are stronger today. They are able to resist American and Israeli occupation more effectively than before. And ironically, this is the same thing that's happening economically. Just like we tried in the West to isolate Russia, what happened? The whole world saw $300 billion being stolen from Russia's central bank and was like, yo, screw this. We are not trusting you with anything. Your whole system is rigged, right? We're going to de-dollarize. We're going to make our own alternative to SWIFT, which actually China and Russia had already created before. But now they expanded that, and also the payment system with Mir, linked it with Chinese Union Pay, expanded it in Turkey. Iran, Venezuela wanted it. I mean, this is nuts. You got oil being sold, oil transactions being denominated in currencies other than the dollar. The Russians have so many rupees because they're selling oil to India in massive, unbelievable quantities, right? Which the Indians actually just like mix a little bit with, or dilute, or either mix with something else. And then, it says, oh, it's from India, when it's actually from Russia. So, the West, we're still buying Russian oil, but at a more expensive price because it has to go through India first, because we're complete morons. Well done. Well, we're not morons. It's the people in Whitehall and Brussels and Washington who, are okay because their expenses, are paid for by the taxpayer, so they don't get affected, right? What happened? Attempting to isolate Russia completely backfired. People go and build a new system. This is the new system. That is the new system. This is not a coincidence that you have these coups in Gabon and Niger. People in Gabon and Niger are seeing what is transpiring in the world. BRICS is growing. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is growing. De-dollarization is slowly, but surely picking up pace. This infrastructure that will be part of the Belt and Road Initiative or the New Silk Road, picking up pace. The whole world is changing right before our eyes. It's honestly astonishing. It's really astonishing. And this is good. This is very good. You know, this is not, I mean, let me be clear. This is not going to be like some highway express for, you know, like a high-speed train that delivers rockets to Syria and and Hezbollah, although one can wish. Now, you know, they make it sound like it's so good to supply Ukraine with weapons that, you know, we have to pay for that threaten our security because we escalate with Russia, and then the risk of nuclear war becomes greater. You know, but if Iran gives any weapons to Syria, oh, you know, malign activities in the region. Everybody say it together: malign activities in the region. This is more for trade and economic purposes. Okay. Nevertheless, this is the unification of the entire resistance axis, both militarily, politically, and economically. Right? And this is good for China. China will now have access to the Mediterranean Sea. Iran will have access to the Mediterranean Sea. Do you know what is going to happen? Iran has so much oil in storage that it's just like waiting to be bought. Just waiting to be bought. I mean, I'm a little rusty on my figures, but it's easily beyond the millions of barrels, right? I mean, without question. This is after, of course, Trump, the great genius, you know, he's so anti, you know, establishment, right, that he just did everything Israel wants, and you know, the military-industrial complex, and put sanctions on Syria. He also pulled out from the nuclear deal and put sanctions on Iran. So Iran now, you know, it's much harder for Iran to sell its oil compared to before, okay? Not impossible, but just more difficult. And Europe, you know, because Europe has now isolated itself, again, well done, from Russia, Europe needs gas, Europe needs oil. So where is this oil going to come from? Qatar is one option. There's liquefied natural gas, but this is so expensive. Another option, of course, proposed by the Americans, right, who have no economic incentive whatsoever to blow up Nord Stream and make sure that no Russian oil and gas can be bought. They also have liquefied natural gas to sell. Oh, what a coincidence, right? It just costs, you know, 4 times more, and has to arrive by ship, and then you need special hubs that can actually you know, offload it, which don't exist. Germany doesn't even have a single one. Terminals, rather. Hopeless, you know, absolutely hopeless. Iran is a potential contender as a new source of gas and oil for Europe. Absolutely, why not? Even to the United States, if they would, you know, if the government there, or rather the corporation that runs the government, would wisen up, right? So now with access to the Mediterranean Sea, think how easy it would be. Think how, you know, how exciting, right? And good this would be economically for Iran to offload all the gas and oil that it's able to sell. You know, remember, Iran is not just one of the top oil producers in the world. It has the second largest proven reserve of natural gas in the world. Russia is number 1, Iran is number 2, right? But you're supposed to hate them because they won't give us the resources, right? Remember that. They're evil. So look at the potential here. Iraq, also a top oil producer, now also access to the Mediterranean Sea. You know, and of course, this goes both ways, right? Syria, before, you know, Turkey and the US and the UK and the EU and Qatar destroyed it, used to be one of the top producers of cotton, of wheat. Syria was a net exporter of wheat, right? So think of how this would be good for Syria's reconstruction and economic rehabilitation, to be able to export. If, of course, you know, the Americans leave the 1/3 of Syria that they occupy, you know, having this breadbasket region and all the goods that could be exported, it's also good. It goes both ways, right? So it's just good. I like to see this because in Europe, you know, it's so you can go jump in a train, you know, with for example an Interrail ticket in France, and just, you know, go to the other side of the continent and back, and you know, you can go wherever you want. The infrastructure is there. It makes me happy to see this same infrastructure being built in the countries that were occupied and colonized and had their resources stolen so that America, so that Britain, so that Europe could build their corridors, their highways, and all the nice things that so-called developed countries enjoy, right? So this makes me happy. This is a good thing. Now, of course, because Wall Street cannot control it, they will make you think, oh, it's bad, and they'll try to destroy it and so on. This is why America wants to connect the air base at El Tanaf that it has with the 1/3 of Syria that it occupies up here, right? So east of the Euphrates River. That way they isolate Syria from Iraq. That way Iraq cannot do anything with the Mediterranean Sea. Neither can Iran, neither can China. And the whole thing is screwed up, right? This is not an accident that the Americans picked this place to occupy. It's not just because of the oil. I know, people like to make jokes and think, and the first thing that they think of is the oil. You're right. You're right. Of course it's the oil. It's always been the oil, all right? Since Iraq and before. But it's not only that. There is so much, the West cannot accept and cannot handle the idea of BRICS, of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, of Belt and Road Initiative. They cannot handle the idea that the countries they colonized are now free or will be free. Look how the French are in denial. Macron won't even bring his fucking ambassador home. What do do you see how they won't let go? What do you think they're going to do when it comes to things like this? This is very, very important and very, very good. And you need to know about it. Because the mainstream media definitely, they sure ain't going to tell you. Let me look at my phone. Give me a second. Hey, we got Jason and Fingerman who joined on Patreon. Kisses and hugs to you. Listen, we are almost there. Claudia, where are we at right now? We're at 682 when you gave me the thing. Hold on, let me put it on the screen. Give me a second. Where's the Biden sniffanometer? 682, we're at 684. Guys, I believe in you. I have faith in you. Let's get there. Let's do it. Come on. We just need 16 more people, and then I will stop nagging you, and we can all go to bed. No, I'm kidding, but I'm tired. Give me money, okay? That's the phrase that I coined, so we're just going to keep using it. Honestly, though, on Patreon, I think you can, like I said, do any currency, and you can stop anytime you like, okay? So give me a second. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. One of you asked if you take rubles. I really don't know. I was half joking, but, also half serious. Okay, in any case, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep my eye on the phone, and I'm going to play Crab Dance for Fingerman and Jason because they have decided to support my work. I'm grateful to you, and no matter what amount or how much money you can send, I appreciate it. Remember, please, that even just liking the video, clicking on the thumbs up, or sharing it with your friends, sharing it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. This is support. This is a crucial form of support. Word of mouth. Just telling people, yo, go watch this guy's show. Go check this video out. Look at this topic. This really helps. We're trying to educate people. This is the goal here. It's to educate people and deprogram them from that bullshit that they're putting in people's minds at the mainstream media. This is really the final and ultimate objective. So it's thanks to you guys that we can do that. Anyway, I'll stop rambling and let's do the crab dance. Let's go.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله في كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
We got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Get up.
Oh! Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Why you text Sanders? Why, you're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you!
You're getting nervous, man.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live. What an absolute mood. What an absolute mood. A gem. A true gem. Yo, thank you, PXL Co for the nice donation and kind message on YouTube. No, I'm just laughing because of the crab dance, man. It's really art, you know. And we had to reconstruct it because you guys remember we had this small obstacle that we had to negotiate, but we did it, and you know, we persevered. So in any case, I am keeping my eye on the phone. I'm ready in case anybody else decides to join and support independent media, which of course you should. And I don't just mean my channel, but please do consider it. And you know, you don't have to do it now, but even maybe after the show ends, or tomorrow, or the day after, you know, you might be having coffee or something, and just, you know, gazing out the window, you think, hey, maybe I should go support Richard Medhurst's work because he taught me this thing or that thing, or I should go support XYZ's work because he taught me this and that thing, right? So yeah. In any case, I'm done plugging the show, but just so you know. Man, I had the t-shirt with me. Hold on, where the heck is it? Wait, is it behind me? That looked like I planned it. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's behind me. No, it's actually here. Look. Yay! Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult. It sounds like an amazing 80s movie. This is the t-shirt I made. Why is it called Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult? Because Uncle Joe, right? He likes to put women and, you know, minorities in his administration to make it look like, to pretend he cares and he's progressive. But they actually just pursue the same policies as, you know, George Bush. Literally, I mean that literally, like George Bush. So that's why it's a death cult, but it's still rainbow at the same time because, you know. This is all available on the store, and it's a form of support, right? Not just as a journalist, but as an artiste. No, but seriously, I did some stuff with Mona. We did a Hillary instead of, you know, Hillary Clinton, and a whole bunch of stuff, man. It's store.richardmedhurst.com. I think that's the address. Give me a second. I'll post it in the comments so you guys can go there too. And I know I repeat this story sometimes, but when I first made this t-shirt, you guys bought all of the goddamn hoodies, and I wanted a hoodie for myself, for my own thing. And it wasn't, you know, I just couldn't get it. So I got the long sleeve tee. So yeah, you guys definitely liked it. Look, there's a permanent, code that you can use. It's Corn Pop. Remember, because Joe Biden mentions Corn Pop, and he was a bad dude. If you write Corn Pop at checkout, you'll get 20% off. It's not like a temporary thing. It's always there. I was like, screw it, whatever. Hold on. I'll get you the thing. Go. You know the thing. Okay. So apparently the address is richardmedhurst.creator-spring.com. What an annoying URL. I'll fix that. But for now, I'll just post it in the comments. Okay. So you just click. You just click. That's all you got to do. Just click. All right. Hold on. Let me show you what's going on. Let me show you what we got. You know, I'm like a street vendor who's got like stuff, you know, like products stuffed in his coat. Yo, take a look what we got. We have a nice mug here with Hillary Clinton's face. All right, hold on. Oh man. There it is. So as it says on the top, Corn Pop at the checkout. Make sure you write that you know, at the end so you get 20% off. Okay, this is always there. It's always there. I'm not gonna take it off. So basically, if you like any of these designs, you can put them on anything you want. Like if you, for example, you like the lion, you can put it on a mug or a t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever it is, you know. And it's also available in black. Okay, so this one's in white, but it's also in black. The Joe Biden one, the Uncle Rainbow Coalition Death Cult, Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult. Yeah, look, you can get that on a mug if you want. By the way, you guys can't see it on the stream right now, but you know what I wrote on the bottom? You're gonna love this. Okay, look. It says, if the sanctions don't kill you, or get you rather. I tried to make it more PG. If the sanctions don't get you, the drones will. It's, you know, if we don't laugh about this stuff, they'll make us miserable and we'll cry. So we have to make jokes to maintain our mental fortitude. I'm trying to see if I can get this in front of the camera. Hold on. There we go. That's the best advertisement and plug in the history of television. There you go, guys. Okay, Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult and a lot of stuff. I put the link in the chat, and I hope you support the show in that way. So thank you, DVI. I read your. I can see your comment. I read your comment, and you are very, very kind. DVI says glory to Richard Medhurst. I feel I feel awkward reading that, but thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. DVI says true free reporter, true hero. Respect for you and your work from the Russian army in Donbass. Much respect from Transnistrian volunteer soldier. Well, look, I appreciate that very much. Honestly, those are very, very kind words. And you know, as I say to you, and I would say to, you know, anybody resisting American imperialism, please, you know, keep up the work, all of you, you know, because, you know, by resisting the empire, I know this sounds like some, you know, cheap dialogue out of a movie or something, but it's true. It's an empire that is run by corporations, by Wall Street, you know, and whether it's in Donbass or whether it's in Syria or whether it's in Niger, these people have the same interests. They're neo-colonial interests. They want to steal, they want to kill with impunity, and we can't allow that to happen. And this is really what they're doing. They are destroying, you know, entire nations. And, you know, I was saying earlier, like how, oh, poor Macron, you know, the French, they feel humiliated, quote unquote, by leaving Niger. They fucking humiliated Niger, okay? France raped, pillaged, and you know, ripped off and robbed Niger blind, okay? And if anyone brought shame to France, or on France rather, and humiliation, it is naught but themselves. In any case, I you know, I rest my case for now. I'll probably rant again in 5 minutes. No, but thank you, Fernando, for the kind words. Thank you guys very, very much. And we are right now at, hold on, Claudia obliged me and made the thing. Actually, no, we're at 684 right now. Okay. So don't worry, Claudia. We'll update it afterwards. But we only need 16 more people to join. So guys, hey, look, we just got another one. We got Jason. Thank you, Jason, very much. And we got Deborah. Deborah also just joined on Patreon. Thank you. So we are now at 685. 685. We only need 15 more people. Okay, and then we will hit our goal. So thank you guys so much, and thank you for those of you who joined as members on YouTube. It's equally as appreciated. Again, let's go with the crab dance. Everybody, give Deborah a round of applause.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني.
نشتغل عادي. We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China. 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 China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s. A number 9 large.
we got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Get up. Get up. Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Why you text Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
I love that thing that Claudia put in there where he goes, oh. Sorry for blasting your ears with that, but the compressor will do its job. Oh. Oh man, what a barrel of laughs, honestly. Okay, thank you guys very much. That's it for me, and I'm much obliged. Thank all of you for joining on Patreon, for your donations and your kind words, and God bless you all. I'll see you guys next time. And oh look, we got another person joined now, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. Everybody show Nancy some love. I have to play another crab dance now. Yes. Oh. Oh man, that's amazing. Look, where are we at now? We are at 6. Hold on, Claudia literally just updated it, and now it's already out of date because someone else joined. Look, we're actually at 686, so 14 people left. 14 guys, come on. I see we've got 700, 800 people watching. I know we can get there. And for those of you watching on Rockfin, thank you very much. We have a tip here from Corbin. Edward said, there's no note, but thank you, Corbin, nonetheless. Nelson also sent a tip. Thank you guys both for your kind words. And Dave is saying India wants to maintain Russian oil trade as a key priority for them. Yeah, I mean, I admired how, India was basically saying, like, you're not going to tell us, from who we can buy oil and who we're not allowed to buy oil from. Like, that's ridiculous because Europe was still buying oil at that time, right? So this was like a few months after the first round of sanctions. They were like, trying to shame everyone into just obeying them and following the Western line. Like you have to do like us. You have to stop buying Russian gas, stop buying Russian oil. And those of you who don't do it, like India, they were, they were bollocking them. They're basically giving them crap. And the Indian foreign minister was like, I'm sorry, but you're like in no position to tell us anything. You are literally buying Russian petroleum and oil products, and you're telling us not to do it. Go to hell. And it's funny because India is not only, I forgot to say this earlier, but I've told you guys before, India is not only buying Russian oil in rupees, but also, they were doing it in dinar, right? So the United Arab Emirates, because the whole system that they have now where India buys oil from Russia and mixes it a little bit, right? And then they seal it, ship it off to New York or to Europe or wherever. And the UAE is also basically in the mix, right? No pun intended. So they're also interacting and denominating oil transactions in currencies other than the dollar. This is substantial. Like, for those, I know they don't want to talk about this in the Western media, but this is really big. And they laugh at it. They scoff at it, just like they scoffed at, the artillery shells that Russia is buying from North Korea. You're so primitive. Yeah, guess what? Artillery shells win wars of attrition. Obviously, I don't think anyone is winning in Ukraine right now because everybody's losing. This is the whole planet is in a greater risk of nuclear war than ever before in history. People are dying every day from both sides. You know, I think it's sad. I think it's a total loss for everyone. But the difference is that one side tried to avoid this and did every goddamn possible thing you can think of to avert conflict, and the other didn't. The other did everything possible to make sure that there's conflict. You know, the Russian diplomats who said, "Yo, we want you to look at these security proposals, these requirements that we want." Russia was saying, for example, Russia was not telling Poland to get out of NATO, okay, because it's just unfeasible. What Russia was saying was that, if you're going to have, if you're going to be in NATO and you are at our border, at our doorstep, at least just keep it Polish troops, right? Don't bring in American and British and French and German troops and put them at our border. This is common sense. This is common sense, right? It's not even just common sense. It's just common decency, okay? Because just like I've said this a million times, just like America and Britain, we wouldn't like if Ireland, for example, was in a so-called security agreement, or a defensive alliance with China. Guess what? Russia also doesn't like the opposite. They don't like having their neighbors in so-called defensive alliances, because it's not defensive, it's offensive. Especially now, like, how can you justify this? In the Cold War, it's a different story, right? Not because NATO would have been more, moral necessarily. No, but because in the Cold War, you could actually say, well, yeah, the Soviet Union is there. So NATO actually has a purpose because it was created to counter the Soviet Union or contain the Soviet Union. Yeah, okay, but we're not in the Cold War anymore. So, what possible reason could you have for this? I find this so fucking crazy because, guys, before February 24th, 2022, what did people think NATO was? Like, how can you come now and say, oh, it's a defensive alliance, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Everything NATO did between the end of the Cold War and February 23rd, 2022 was offensive. Attacking Libya, attacking Syria, attacking Afghanistan, attacking Yugoslavia, bombing Serbia. This is offensive. What does that have to do with Russia? Literally nothing, right? What Soviet Union? Nothing. Nada. What did these people tell themselves when they saw this happening? The great man-made river in Libya being bombed by NATO. What did they tell themselves? Oh yeah, this is defensive. Maybe they were jumping up and down. They were jumping for joy like Hillary Clinton. Oh, we came, we saw, he died. What an evil woman. What an evil person. I'm speechless, man. Really. These people are irredeemable. Irredeemable. Danny, thank you so much for joining on Patreon. What can I do except tell you that you rock? And again, thank you, Nancy, as well. You guys get a crab dance. Let's keep it going, guys. Come on. We got 14, 13 people left till we hit the goal. Let's do it. We got 700 people watching. I'm sure that there are 13 people among you who can maybe donate $1 a month, or £1 a month, or €1 a month, maybe €10 a month. It's up to you, and I'd be most indebted and most grateful if you would support the show. And of course, there's a crab dance in it for you.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله في كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me? Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
We got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh! Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Why you text Sanders? Why, you're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you!
It never gets old. It never does. It's you know, this crab dance is like a fine wine. It only grows better with age. Amen. What did I want to say? Yeah, I wanted to say something about Syria with the in terms of the, you know, the current situation, because look at this. Check this out, okay? Hey, we got another one who just joined our Patreon. This is Big IG Electricity. Thank you so much. Awesome. I feel bad for Claudia because she keeps updating the thing, and then literally 1 second later we keep growing. Amazing. I think we're at 688 now, so we only need 12 more people. Guys, you got this. Look how far we've come. Where were we before? I think we were at 6. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll up and see this now. What, 674? Yeah, and now we are at 688. This is amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much. I'll play you a crab dance in a second after my what I want to say next. I want to be very clear with you. You know, in the Western press, they like to sell you this dream, this illusion that, you know, if you go to northeastern Syria, which apparently is, you know, Hasakeh and Dore are now called Rojava, whatever the fuck that is. You know, like it's a feminist paradise, right? It's a feminist paradise under Kurdish rule and all this stuff. That's a load of nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. That is 1/3 of Syria that is occupied by American troops who are using the Kurds, just like they've used them before and stabbed them in the back, and using the Arab tribes so that they can keep Syria isolated and deprive it of its natural resources and wealth, right? Let me just give you an idea how valuable this oil is. You know, if you look at the top 10 or the top 20 oil exporters in the world, Syria is not on that list, okay? But Syria relies on that oil for you know, revenue. The government gets 1/4 of its revenue comes from that oil. Do you understand? 1/4. This is used, you know, to build infrastructure, to better the country, which I've seen with my own eyes every single year, every day. Syria was getting better and better and better. They were developing it, right? No more electricity cuts, you know, entire districts, the pavement redone, you know, new bridges, tunnels, roads built. Beautiful. And they fucking destroyed it. These dogs, right? They destroyed it. And then they make you hate a country or a president that you don't even know. You have no clue about. And then they take 1/3 of Syria's wealth and destroy it. They set it back 50 years. Like, you know, French and British colonialism wasn't enough. Israel stealing the Golan Heights, which has water, which has snow, which has oil, gas. That wasn't enough. And, you know, the truth is that the Kurds, under, you know, with permission from the Americans, are treating the Arab tribes unequally. And even the head of the Kurdish SDF, so the so-called, they're called Syrian Democratic Forces. You know, another, again, lovely CIA acronym. Even Mazloum, who's the head of them, said today that, yeah, they were not treating the Arabs equally, the Arab tribes. He said it, you know, that he said mistakes were made. He acknowledges their grievances, you know, and they are legitimate grievances. And I want to tell you, the Arabs are a majority. Now, look, in Syria, you don't differentiate between, oh, this guy's a Kurd, this one's an Arab, that guy's an Armenian, this one is, you know, his father is Palestinian, oh, he's Christian, he's a Syrian. Yeah, it will never end. And again, I know, you know, most of you guys watching, you're Americans, right? So what is America called? It's called the melting pot, right? Syria is the melting pot, like a real melting pot. You know, if any country is going to be a melting pot, you could say America definitely, Syria definitely as well, right? Perhaps even more, because as I said, this is the cradle of civilization. Writing itself, the first alphabet was invented in Syria, in Ugarit. I saw it. I went there to the archaeological site, to the dig. The first musical notes were invented there. Farming, writing, all of it was invented there and in Iraq and Mesopotamia, in the Fertile Crescent as a whole. Okay, all the major religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, invented and rooted there. You know, you have so many different religious and ethnic groups. That is the beauty of it. That these social and religious groups, these ethnic and religious groups, are what make up Syria's social fabric. They are the very material that make up Syria's social fabric. So you cannot start start differentiating. It's even rude. It's rude to even ask someone, like, what is your religion in Syria? You don't do that. You don't do that. Okay? It's just, you don't do that. It's bad taste. It's not a thing. Okay? And so it is not correct. It is not okay to say, yeah, 1/3 of Syria is now, given to the Kurds, who are a minority, right? And they will also, on top of that, give the resources to the Americans. So basically betraying their country. And then on top of that, treating the Arab tribes unequally. This is unacceptable. Like I said, I'm British from my father's side and my mother's side, Syrian Christians. Christians in Syria are also a minority. Am I going to go now and say, oh, well, I want to carve out one chunk of Syria and make my own country? This is fucking lunacy. If every minority or religious and ethnic group did that in Syria, there would be no Syria left. And they already chopped it up. Sykes-Picot, the British and the French chopped it up, right? In 1916 and 17. They already did that because it's divide and conquer, Balkanization. So no, the Kurds do not have any right. They do not have a legitimate claim to carve up Syria. Because if every minority wanted to do that in Syria, there would be no country left. This is ridiculous. This is outrageous. Okay, that's not to say that the Kurds have always been treated beautifully by the government. I'm not saying that. There have also been issues there, but you don't just go around like saying, I want to carve out 1/3 of the goddamn country. Oh, and by the way, all the wheat that is grown, all the oil fields are in this section. How convenient. And you also give it to the fucking Americans. What is that? That's goddamn treason. It's treachery. You loot your country and give it. You help someone else loot your country. How can you say you want a country and then you allow someone else to plunder it? That's ridiculous. So they have no more legitimate claim than anyone else. This is complete utter lunacy. Okay. With that said, thank you very much to Meet a Saint, I Ain't, and Big IG Electricity for joining on Patreon. I owe you guys a crab dance. Let's go. Hit it, baby.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you fucking crossed the line. Claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch out.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me? Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
we got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Why you text Sanders? Why, oh, you're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Guys, we are 10 people away. That's it. 10 people away. Wow. I'm really proud of you guys. And I'm grateful, and I appreciate this very much. So hold on a second. Yeah, just thank you, really. And for those of you who watch on replay, consider supporting the show as well. Again, I'm going to plug the store. This is one of many ways to support my work and my show, and to get some cool merch and gear. I hate that word merch. It's just a t-shirt, okay? Or a mug. But the designs are good. The jokes are good. All right? I made sure of that. Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult. You can see me like trying to peer out of the corner. Yeah, Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Cult. Okay? You know you want it. So go ahead and treat yourself. By the way, remember, Corn Pop is the coupon code at the checkout. Corn Pop, CORNPOP, one word, and you'll get 20% off. That I started that discount thing a while ago, and I forgot to turn it off, and I'm like, why should I turn it off? Let's just keep it, you know? Anyway, thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and remember just to like the video, to hit the thumbs up button, and to share it with your friends. You know, maybe you change their minds about a certain topic. Maybe you think they'd be interested in something. And this is, you know, bit by bit, we deprogram people from the mainstream media propaganda and educate them. And whether you're supporting my show or somebody else's show in independent media, try to do it if you can. I don't just mean financially. That's one way, and we're grateful. But even just sharing the videos, you know, is a really good way to support. And liking them, commenting helps with the algorithms. And remember, I'm live on YouTube right now. I'm live on Rumble right now. I'm live on Rockfin right now, and I'm live on Odyssey right now, all at the same time. So I make sure that it's accessible to everybody, and we have a backup. So please, if you do one thing, what was the slogan again? I'm tired. Give me money. No. If you do one thing, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel on another platform so we have a backup, okay? If God forbid something happens, we need to be able to communicate, right? I need to make sure that you guys can still watch my videos and live streams. So please make an account on Rumble or Rockfin or Odyssey and subscribe. It's important to have a contingency plan. And one more thing. If you are not getting live stream notifications, which is so annoying, YouTube emails me when I go live. Motherfucker, I know I'm live. I want you to email my subscribers. Why do you, like, every single time without exception, without fault, I get emailed that I'm live. I know, yes, I know I'm live. I want you to email the people that are subscribed, for the love of God. No, seriously, I'm not kidding. This is really what's happening. Look, anyway, this is the Substack. I publish, you know, if I have any written works or articles, I'll publish them on Substack. But primarily what I do is I email you when I go live. So, you know, if you're having problems with the app, sometimes they don't tell you because I wrote, you know, oh my God, I wrote Syria in the title. I'm not joking. This is like actually something that I was afraid of before I went live. I'm like, can I even say Syria? If you send me a note, a donation on PayPal or Venmo, and you write the word Syria or Palestine, they will actually pull it aside and examine it. I mean, and the same goes if you write Palestine. Think of how depraved this is. You know, like Syria, one of, you know, Damascus, where I was born, is the oldest extant or continuously inhabited city on the planet, right? And you can't say the word Syria. I mean, this is disgusting. Like, you're not even fit to look at the goddamn word, whoever made these policies. No, really, it's dystopian. It's dystopian. Like, you know, the thought police have to pull you aside to see what you meant when you said Syria. Ridiculous. Anyway, here's the box. It couldn't be easier. You literally type your email and hit subscribe. I don't spam you. I don't do newsletters. You will not get anything from me unless you know, except a link when I go live, and if I'm publishing a written work or article. That's it. I don't do newsletters. I don't do spam. I hate that. I hate that crap. So yeah, this is if you want to make sure that you get notified when I'm live, which I think is very important. And we've got over 2,000 of you that are on the list, so that's great. On Rockfin, how many are we at? We've got. Give me a second. We have on Rockfin already 24,000 subscribers. Excellent. And you can see here, if I click on Rockfin on rockfin.com/RichardMedhurst. Remember, that's ROKFIN. ROKFIN. There's no C in the word. You can see all the videos and the live stream. You see me? I'm live right there, right where my mouse is. Everything is here. The same videos, exact same. So make sure you subscribe, and all of this is free, right? I don't make any money or something from this. It's just so to make sure that we have a contingency plan. You know, God forbid something happens. So on Rockfin, you have to make an account. I mean, it's logical, right? Because how could you subscribe otherwise? But yeah, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And the same goes for Rumble. It's rumble.com/RichardMedhurst. And then also for Odyssey, odyssey.com/RichardMedhurst. And the way you spell Odyssey, well, Rumble is rumble.com/RichardMedhurst, and Odyssey is ODYSEE.com/RichardMedhurst. This is Odyssey. That's ODYSEE. And then here is Rumble. So already 6,000, 3,000, and growing. So thank you guys again for all your support. I'm grateful. Remember, we're only 10 people away on Patreon, so I believe in you, and I hope those of you watching right now live or on replay will kindly oblige me and you know, donate $1 a month or €1 a month or $10 a month, whatever is good for you, whatever works for you. And thank you for supporting my work. And if you have a question or comment, you can send it on PayPal or something like that, or just in the chat. So thank you guys very much. Take care. Ma salame. Bye-bye. So you have another terrorist attack in Ukraine. This time it's the Kakhovka Dam. And the first thing the media do is blame the Russians. So let's see why the Russians would do it. They control the dam. They control the region. They need the dam to funnel water to Crimea, which is also under Russian control. They literally have zero motive. There is no motive. You know, the Washington Post in December published an article showing how Ukraine targeted this dam using American missiles, using the HIMARS system. They actually fired a missile at this dam to test if they could flood areas. Sound familiar? This is the same thing that we saw with the Nord Stream pipeline attacks, right? The first thing the press do is let's go and blame Russia. And now, almost a year later, the Washington Post finally admits that Ukraine, not Russia, Ukraine blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. This is something that I, myself, and others have been saying since the very beginning. Anyone with half a brain knew that it was not Russia. Russia would not blow up their own pipeline. But, you know, this was dismissed as a crackpot conspiracy theory that NATO would maybe do this, or Ukraine. No, that's Russian propaganda. And another example, the Nazi patches. This week, the New York Times also finally admit that Ukrainian soldiers en masse are wearing Nazi patches to the point that Western journalists have to ask them to hide the patches before they take photos of them. I mean, this is despicable on another level. And then later they claim that these are authentic photos. This is not journalism. This is curated propaganda. So are the New York Times and Washington Post doing propaganda now, right? They're doing Russian disinformation. These people are not doing journalism, all right? You guys are a year late. Only publishing the truth when nobody cares anymore. That's not journalism, okay? They are the ones doing disinformation. They are the ones doing propaganda. And these acts of state terrorism, blowing up pipelines and dams, European leaders say literally absolutely nothing. And all they do is give more money and more weapons to an army where men are wearing Nazi patches and blowing up our infrastructure. So what's the conclusion? Always ask yourself, who stands to gain? Whether we're talking about the Crimea Bridge, Nord Stream pipelines, or the Kakhovka Dam like today, always ask yourself who stands to benefit, and you'll find the answer, you'll find the truth. So everyone's talking about how Donald Trump has been indicted under the Espionage Act. But what a lot of people don't understand is that the Espionage Act is a law that has always been used in the United States as a political tool to silence opponents. It was crafted in 1917, so during World War I, and one of its most famous victims was Eugene Debs. He was given 10 years in prison and stripped of his citizenship because he gave an anti-war speech. Ellsberg, Manning, Kiriakos, Snowden, they were all charged under the Espionage Act as well, and none afforded a public interest defense. Yet another reason why the Espionage Act is a political tool to silence whistleblowers, quite literally, even in court. Even worse, it's also being used to threaten Julian Assange, a publisher, with almost 200 years in prison. So many people are upset about Trump putting classified documents in the bathroom. I wonder if they care just as much about freedom of speech and press freedoms. Trump definitely put America's national security at risk, not for bringing home documents, but assassinating Soleimani, the equivalent of Iran's defense minister. How come Trump's critics never attack him for actual crimes, like putting illegal sanctions on millions of people or stealing oil from Syria?
We're keeping the oil. We have the oil. The oil is secure. We left troops behind only for the oil.
If you love Ukraine, if you care about Ukraine, depleted uranium is the last thing in the world that you would tell them to use. If you look at what the United States have done, everywhere they've used depleted uranium, it's like dropping a nuclear bomb, and actually worse in other ways. Just to give you an example, in Fallujah in Iraq, guess what? 10, 20 years later, there are people in Fallujah who are being born with cancer. And it's so bad that you have higher rates of birth defects and congenital heart disease in Fallujah than you do in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. In Nagasaki and Hiroshima, you knew that there was a nuclear explosion and you had to get the hell away from there if you could. The thing is, the people in Iraq didn't know what the Americans had put in the tank shells. They dropped so much white phosphorus, they used so much depleted uranium. The people living there have no clue about this. The war is bad enough without knowing that, if you live there and you stay there, you're going to get cancer, and your kids are going to be born with these massive nightmarish birth defects. And now they want to bring this literally cancerous thing, depleted uranium, and use it in Ukraine. If you love Ukraine, if you care about Ukraine, depleted uranium is the last thing in the world that you would tell them to use, because guess who's going to suffer from that? The people in Ukraine, right? Like, if their idea is to liberate Ukraine, right? Okay, let's say that they do. Tomorrow morning, Zelensky's gonna emerge victorious over the Donbass and Crimea, and he's gonna go have a nice parade, right? Guess what? All the people returning to their homes, or all the people living there, you're gonna give those people in Ukraine cancer because you use depleted uranium, because this stuff goes in the earth. It seeps into the earth, into the soil, into the water. It's actually worse than a nuke, truly, because people don't even know that it's there. They have no clue that they're living next to things that are going to give them cancer and destroy their DNA and give their children massive birth defects. They don't even know that it's there. It's like a silent killer. They don't care about you, man. They don't care about you. This is bad for the environment, obviously. That doesn't even need stating. and it's bad for human beings, and it's bad for wildlife, for everyone. But it's good for what? It's good if you manufacture it. It's very good. This is explosive. This is mind-blowing. How do we know that it's the Ukrainians who haven't held up their end of the deal, but the Russians have? The deal was that the Russians will pull out of Kiev. At the time, the media that we have here in the West, they were saying, oh, the Russians have failed. Their army sucks. That's actually not at all what happened. The Russians pulled back on purpose and left the capital. They left Kiev because of this peace agreement. Boris Johnson was the prime minister at the time, and he just randomly happens to go and visit Zelensky. And he tells Zelensky, drop out of the peace negotiations, drop out. Zelensky did what Boris Johnson told him to do. Angela Merkel, who is the German chancellor, she says that in the end, the Minsk agreement, it was just a ruse in order to buy time for NATO to arm Ukraine. This means that once again, you cannot take Western leaders and diplomats seriously. The Russians are done talking. This is the conclusion that I draw from this, because they have had it up to here with Ukraine and their backers and guarantors, you know, just playing games with them. So just remember the next time that the media tell you that the Russians walked away from peace talks, that this is a lie. And when they tell you the next time that Russia wanted this war, that this is a lie. Just remember these things.
Some in Iran wanted Iran to go to war with the Taliban. And actually, they were liberals. They were the pro-Western liberals who were saying that we should, you know, go to the defense of the Tajiks, who are Persian speakers, the Hazaras, who are predominantly Shia, and the Uzbeks and others. They together are more than 50%. Taliban is basically Pashtun. They are 40%, roughly 40% of the country. It's sort of ironic because the people who are calling for Iran to wage war against the Taliban, they were totally against the Russians in Ukraine. Their logic is not dissimilar to the logic of the Russians. These people were saying we should go to the support of the Persian speakers. Why not the Russians support Russian speakers? But yeah, that hypocrisy is aside. The Iranian government said, look, we have to keep Afghanistan peaceful, and it's had enough war.
South Africa, China, Brazil, all these countries that are BRICS countries. So you know, they are partners with Russia. They're not condoning Russia. They're actually saying, hey, everybody calm down and let's resolve this. And all you see is media attacking them. They attacked South Africa for proposing diplomacy. They attack Lula for trying to sit down Zelensky. Zelensky makes him wait and then doesn't even show up to the meeting. I mean, how insulting in any context, right? Never mind a goddamn president of the largest country in Latin America. So they try to like attack the countries closest to Russia for actually suggesting peace. Maybe South Africa should give some F-16s instead of being a Putin puppet, right? Maybe China should send some F-16s instead of being a Kremlin asset.